We went to see my cousin play at Blind Bob's last night.
Nice.
And the band that was on before them, the band that opened for them, was doing their sound check. And the one guy's like, check, 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 check. The other guy was like, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, until the entire audience was like, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S.
Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like.
Welcome to Drunk Bitches Be Like. I'm Brandy.
I'm Mindy.
And this is all about two women, a few beers, some tipsy stories, and some drunk ideas.
Welcome. So explain to me as an audio person, and I can hear it while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
S's are hard for audio people, aren't they?
Yeah, because they have a
High
hiss to them. Yeah.
So is that why I'm assuming that sound people, when you're doing like music setup, that's why they have them like say S words so they can like tune it down or flatten it or something?
Yeah, there's like different things that you can do for it. There's there's actually like a it's a hiss kind of a thing.
Yeah.
In there. That's not the right word for it because
Anti-hiss.
I'm blanking on it, but yeah, it's a de-hisser or something like that. De-esser.
Can you de-escalate this?
Can you please? Well, and you'll notice too that like, so S's are hard because of the hissing, and then like P's are hard because of the popping.
Oh, and the
yeah. So like you'll see like people who do like voiceovers and stuff professionally and whatever, when they're like using the microphone, they'll like turn their mouth sideways when they do like a P or something. Because
so it's not,
so it doesn't like pop right in the mouth. Yeah, it'll
Gotcha.
You get the sound, but not quite the pop.
Gotcha.
As much too. And plus you can learn how to pronounce words a little bit different where you still get the P sound without the pop.
right. And I've heard people say instead of like see her, it's more like see her, like see her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you can't put your tongue all the way. Yeah, you can't.
You can't do this.
You have to put your tongue like off to the sides.
Yeah, you don't want to sound like a snake when you're on the,
You also
on the
don't
microphone.
You also don't want to sound like this.
Yeah.
Sounding like Daffy Duck.
Yeah. Don't want to do the Daffy Duck thing.
Yeah, I mean, you just always see those old not concert, like in the movies when they're doing a concert setup and the person's like, check, sibilance. And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Sandy sold seashells by the seashore.
Yeah, so it was good seeing them. We didn't stay for very long because they were supposed to go on at the doors were supposed to open at 7, meaning they start charging at 7.
Yeah.
First band was supposed to take the stage at 8. They were going to go on at 8:45. They changed it and said doors are opening at 8.
Oh,
We're going to go
late.
on closer to 9:45, 10:45. The
Dear
little
God.
lovelies took the stage. So, and this is he is my youngest cousin, which is saying a lot considering I am the youngest out of, so there are, my dad has 3 full siblings.
okay. You're holding up 4.
My dad is one of 4.
She was literally holding up her hand with just her thumb down, and I was like, "There are 3 siblings," and I'm like, "Okay, there's a discrepancy in your motion versus your words."
So there were 4. I don't want to say my last name. There are 4 of those children.
And the
one of them
3
was my
siblings.
dad.
Yeah. Okay.
My dad is the 3rd youngest.
So he's your middle
whatever.
finger.
He's my, if you're going from pinky to oldest, pinky oldest index finger to, I don't know, people are like, why wouldn't you do this? No, I'm holding my 4 out. Pinky is the oldest. And my dad is the middle finger. And then my cousins, him and his sister are the products of the youngest of my dad's siblings.
Okay.
Oddly enough, the oldest cousin, so my aunt had the first child of the grandchildren.
Yeah.
And the boy child, the youngest boy child, were born on the same day, like 32 years apart.
Oh man,
It's something like, so wait,
that's a huge gap.
I'm 50, I'm turning 51. Shane will be turning 57. Yeah, like 30 plus years.
Holy balls.
Yeah. So, and it's, I mean, different siblings have these children. So my dad also has 2 half siblings. So they're all related through my grandmother.
Yeah.
And the two half siblings. I don't know how much older my aunt is than me, but the youngest in the entire family, the youngest is 9 years older than I am. I'm 9 years older than his son, and I am 17 years older than his daughter. And his daughter, I'm pretty sure, is in her 30s.
Okay.
And these two are still in their 20s.
Oh, wow.
Like I want to say the boy child who was in the band might be 23. And I think his sister is 25 or 26.
yeah.
So yeah.
Them's youngins.
Yeah. There's no, it feels bad. Like I have cousins everywhere, but because I'm so much older than all of my cousins,
Yeah.
we're not close. I am very envious of families who are like, and then I grew up with all of my cousins. I'm like, well, first of all of my cousins lived someplace else
Yeah.
or weren't born for 34 years.
Yeah.
So these are the,
Yeah. we did cousins on like Christmas, Thanksgiving. Like,
but don't you know people who like,
yeah. Oh yeah. That like were friends with their cousins through
Yeah.
school and high school and all that stuff. Yeah. We never lived in the same city as any of them.
yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't live in the same state as most of them.
Yeah. I lived in the same city as a couple of my cousins who, like in high school, we were similar ages, and they were my mom's step siblings, kids.
Okay.
So I guess they're step cousins. But like we were only around them
That shit gets
a
weird
limited
after a while.
amount. Yeah. Like once you start getting extended, I got 2 divorced parents, and then like her parents were divorced and remarried. And so once you start getting through a couple of generations of divorces and kids and siblings and things, it gets weird.
Sorry, I'm using your tissues as napkins and I feel bad. I owe you a box of tissues.
Dude, you're fine. I've got tissues everywhere.
I need the lotion tissues because I'm basically drinking pineapple. And my mouth is starting to get a little spicy.
Yeah. I have 2 boxes of tissues within eyesight because I have one over there on my vanity and one on the desk.
Cool. I bet you went through a lot. So
Yeah.
we've been gone for a while because
We didn't intend on taking another long break, but
yeah. So what happened is we recorded,
what happened?
but we didn't actually record.
Yeah. Because
We recorded the first podcast of the year through Brandy's computer mic.
it was not only my computer, but it was my webcam.
Yeah, we were speaking into microphones and not even close to the damn webcam.
And the sad part is because of the way everything's hooked up, like we could still hear each other through our equipment and everything because it's all hooked through the mixer, and then the mixer's hooked in the computer. But the computer settings were on the wrong USB input, and so we
So
were.
the only thing that I can figure out what all the audio sounded like.
that was pretty much that was. I tried a bunch of little things and tricks, and I was like, no, this is just shit. We can't. Like if it was the first season, I might have been like, May,
we
first
let a
couple
lot of shit
episodes.
slide in the
We
first
did
season.
because it was like, oh, we're still learning stuff. But I was like, no, we can't.
Was it last year? I don't know what happened. I think it was the first time we recorded in here, and Leo messaged me. It was like, love the episode. What's wrong with your audio? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know because I haven't listened to it. And I listened to it, and I was like, all you can hear is thump, 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 thump.
It was the fan, ceiling fan. Forgot to turn off the ceiling fan. That's what happens when you move locations. There's little things in the background that you just don't notice.
Oh my god! So then we re-recorded like 2 weeks after that.
Yep.
2 or 3 weeks after that.
And that's the last you heard from us.
Yeah, because Brandy got sick,
Yeah, and then Mindy got sick for like 2 weeks.
and that one was just a. Was that one? No, that one I was over pretty quickly.
Oh, so we both gotten sick twice now within the
Right.
course.
So you
Yeah.
got sick for like a week, and then
Yeah.
I got sick for a week because we were together as you were getting better.
Yeah.
I think we played darts together, and then I got sick,
And then you got sick.
and then we had a good week,
Yeah.
but we were busy.
Right. And
And then the following week we
You
played
got
euchre
sick.
together, and I got dead sick.
oh God, she was down for the count, man. Like
I had a fever. I woke up on Wednesday. So we do euchre, basically a euchre tournament, informal euchre tournament every Tuesday at Star City. If you're in the Dayton area, come on down.
yeah, it's fun time.
Don't talk to it. No, I'm just kidding. Say hi. Play euchre with us. We're really not good sports, but we're not dicks. So
I'm a semi good sport.
there are very few rules about the euchre thing. So we play stick the dealer. You don't play partner's best. You don't play ace no face. We don't do any of that shit. But the big rule is don't be an asshole. And we managed to not be assholes.
That's right.
But so we were playing that, and I still wanted to send my husband back on that following Tuesday. Although he was like, "I'll just stay home with you," and I'm like, "You don't have to. I'm going to be in bed."
Yeah.
I wanted to send him back to be like, "Who else is missing? Because somebody is sick. Somebody in that group is also sick.
Yeah.
Because somebody got me sick. I don't leave the house.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't have a job, so now I don't leave the house at all.
I do all the time. But
I didn't leave the house before.
I
but-
try to stay away from people. So.
So yeah, I felt bad on Wednesday. By Wednesday night, I felt super bad. By Thursday, I think my fever spiked to like 102 with Tylenol and ibuprofen.
And this was the week of St. Patrick's Day too. So you had to miss St.
Yes.
Patrick's Day and everything.
I was so upset because we had bought a table. I like seeing the band that Kat's husband is in a band. They only play once a year.
Yep, on St. Patrick's Day
one
weekend.
a year. So we love going to seeing them because they pass out like word sheets so that everybody can sing along.
Yeah, because they sing Irish drinking songs, so it's super fun.
Yeah. So, there's nothing better than sitting around with like 50, 40, 50, 75, 100 people,
Yeah.
singing
Just
the
singing.
Wellerman
Yeah,
and
clapping along and having a good time.
they don't do the dirty version of What Do You Do with the Drunken Sailor, but they do have other songs.
Yeah.
So, that was supposed to be, I was like, I'm going to stay home on Wednesday. I was going to stay home on Thursday. I was like, I'm not going to darts. You go to darts.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to be better for Friday.
Yeah.
Friday's the day.
Yeah.
Woke up on Friday, temperature of 102.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think we're going anywhere. I was thinking like maybe I could just wear a mask and like suck it up.
Yeah, no, like when you get a fever, your whole body just feels
Yeah.
like shit.
So Thursday and Friday, I was like just shivering.
Ugh.
Like my bones hurt, my body hurt. On Saturday, I went to the urgent care and they were like, well, you don't have influenza A or B. And I was like, well, I don't have COVID because I've been testing myself. Like I tested myself Wednesday and then I tested myself on Friday because I had had a fever for 2 days. And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, if it's going to show up, it's going to show up now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to urgent care and I was like, take a chest x-ray. I kind of like, I'm not sure if your stuff is like in your city, I'm not sure what it's like, but in the Dayton area, if you go to an urgent care, if you get the right nurse practitioner, they're just like, what do you want us to do?
Right.
Like, I want a chest x-ray. And if you feel that it's viable, I would like antibiotics, which is what she said. Like, you don't have the flu virus, you don't have the COVID virus. This likely is then bacterial. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and give you a, this is what happens every time I go. Let's see if we can give you oh, you're allergic to penicillin, just all penicillins? Yes, all penicillins. Oh, because the best drug, I know.
That it's the best drug.
I know.
But unfortunately, my body doesn't like things, and I
She's
can't
like,
help that.
how about cephalexins? And I was like, I can do oh, you just had cephalexins like 2 weeks ago. It's probably not good. Can you do a Z-Pack? Yes. And I wanted to be like, can I have 2 of them?
You're right.
Can I get a refill?
I need all the things.
So yeah, so I went on the antibiotics and the little pearls and the something else. I
But
don't
you
know.
were down for a full another week too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. The week that I was sick was the last week that I was working.
Yeah.
No, the week before the last week.
Yeah.
So I had, from when I figured out my severance, when they told me I had 6 weeks and I was out week 5. Like it was a Monday afternoon. I'm like, hey, I told my manager, I don't feel well. I'm getting offline. And
Yeah.
that Tuesday, I was like, hey, I still don't feel well. I'm not going to be on. I joined a call on Wednesday or Thursday and he texted me and was like, why are you online? You sound horrible. And I'm like, I fucking feel horrible.
Yeah,
but I
it's
had
just awful.
I actually had a reason that I had to be there because they had questions. I'm still getting text messages on occasion. Like, do you know where this, I feel like you've got a partner. I feel like that's the game that we're playing is
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go away now. And then you get text messages like, do you know where the cheese is?
Yeah. It's been when you have a partner and one of you is sick, it's a whole experience because so while you were sick for like 2 full weeks the second time. And I got sick while you were sick the second week. But then we were
My
both
husband
getting
got sick while you were sick the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I feel like we both recovered though, like around the same time because I was getting over my sickness the same time you were getting over your sickness, but I
Yeah.
got sick a week later than you did.
Yeah.
So you had a 2-week bout, and I just
thought
had
I
a
was
week.
gonna die. Like I just slept. I've never had so much sleep in my entire life and
Yeah.
not had it matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. I was still tired. I would wake up. My dogs were in love. And
All the
there's-
naps.
There's only one cat that I will take into our bedroom because the boy cat will pee on something that my husband owns. And we have carpet now. So I'm like, I can
Yeah.
do that. But I would like wake up in the middle of the day and like track myself. I also lost a shit ton of weight. I started taking a weight loss medication. But on top of that, I wasn't hungry for 2 weeks.
Well, yeah.
So I would go out and be like, I would like a can of soup and a piece of toast. And then I'm like, I don't really want that can of soup I'll just take the piece of toast.
See, I'm on the opposite problem because when I get sick, because I got sick and I started taking Sudafed and I can't take my other pill with my Sudafed. So I stopped taking the one pill so that I can take the other pill.
So you
And
stop
then-
taking your meth so you could take your meth.
Yeah, basically. And but when I'm on Sudafed and I have like a sinus effect, like all I want to do is eat. So I just like eat things all day long. I'm like munching on crackers and like soup and like it's stuff that's good for you mostly. But then I'm like, oh, snacks. Let's have more snacks. I need more snacks. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like I was just eating everything that was in front of me. Mac and cheese. I know that was not good for me, but like
No, the first time I was sick was all sinus, but I definitely wanted mac and cheese.
yeah.
And so I begged my husband, can you please just go get me Kraft mac and cheese? And
Oh,
he
yeah.
was like, how about I make you mac and cheese? And he makes a fantastic mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you please not put bacon in it? And he was like, but that's like the whole.
Yeah. Thanks.
I was like, great, cut up bacon and put it on your side. I don't want, he does like macaroni and cheese with 2 bacon weaves. So it's like,
Oh.
it's like bigger than a 9x13, like it's an 11x17 or some kind of huge Corningware dish that we have. And
Yeah.
it's a layer of macaroni and cheese sauce, like it's 4 cheese macaroni. So it's a layer of macaroni with the cheese with a bacon weave, a 1.5 pound bacon weave,
Oh, wow.
and then macaroni and cheese and a 1.5 pound bacon weave and then macaroni and cheese. And I was like, can you please not do that? Like I cannot think of anything that sounds worse than bacon right now. So he made mac and cheese, and I think he might have been a little upset that I still went and made a box of Kraft macaroni because there are some things that are just comfort.
Well, yeah.
Like I want fish sticks and macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
I think you understand what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
I want shitty orange macaroni.
I want shitty orange macaroni. Well, that's why I had a loaf of bread and like I was starting to get a little bit better, but I was still kind of And I really, really wanted peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I just wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And my partner went and bought us a loaf of bread and stuff. And we never have bread in the house, which is kind of weird, but we never have bread. We'll have like flour tortillas and stuff, but that's it. And so he went and got me a loaf of bread and
Peanut butter and jelly flour tortilla just isn't it?
no, it just doesn't do it. And so he went and got that. And then on Monday when I went back to work, I was still feeling a little shitty. And I was like, you know what? I'm too lazy to make myself a sandwich before I go. So I just took the whole loaf and the jar of peanut butter and the jar of jelly. But so I was like, okay. And so I just took it to work with me. And I literally then for like the whole week, like for lunches, and I just made myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at my desk. Worked out great. Loved it.
I did ask Brandy, I'm like, I'm going to judge you. What kind of jelly are you using?
Oh, strawberry preserves.
Yes, that is the correct answer. Or
Yes.
blackberry preserves.
Yes, blackberry preserves.
I am not.
Yeah.
We are in a straight grape jelly household. And
Oh.
I do, well, he doesn't like strawberries. So I'm happy because he stays out of my shit.
Yeah.
But we also get no sugar added
Oh.
jelly. It's Polnards, something like that. I don't know. It tastes good. It tastes
Yeah.
the same. So I have part of the reason why I went on this weight loss medication is because I am a type 2 diabetic. I think I was getting up again close to 250. And like when I say I'm a big girl, I ain't lying. So I'm lucky that I'm almost 5'8" because it stretches it out a little more.
Yeah.
So I went on right before I got sick. I started, you guys have probably heard of it. It's a medication called Wegovy. It's an injectable. You can do it once a week. It costs a stupid amount of money. But I got the first month basically for free. Here's why. When I read through my severance package, it said, so I am vested in an FSA, which means I put in so much money pre-tax.
Yeah.
And I had elected for $2,700. In our health insurance thing, you can use up to $2,700. Now, once you're done with that $2,700, you can't use it anymore. So like basically if I spend $2,700 in January, which is what happens every year for the past 4 years, because I have surgery, I break something, I fall, I get sick, whatever. So if you spend it all in January, you just don't have an FSA for the rest of the year. And then you're funding it throughout the rest of your paychecks over the next, year.
So you're only allowed to spend a certain amount.
In an FSA, you're only allowed to put so much in.
Yeah.
Which means that so they increased it to like $2,750 this year.
Yeah.
And I think I took the max.
Yeah.
But in my severance package, it was like your insurance will end at midnight, the last day that you are. But anything that you have spent out of your FSA, if you haven't funded it yet, we just eat that.
Oh.
So I am messaging my provider, and she was like, well, we're going to have to send it through prior authorization. I was like, no, you do not. Send it to the pharmacy and I will figure it out from here.
Yeah.
I was like, is it possible for me to buy 2 months at a time? She was like, no. And I was like, fuck it. I'm still going to get this for free.
Yeah.
So I went in and bought the $1,300 plus medication with my
Very
FSA
nice.
card. I'm like, yeah, fuck you guys for firing me. So basically, I think by the time they let me go, I had paid in like $300 or something.
But you got your $1,300.
I got my $1,300, and they had to pay for all of the medications that I've had. We've had so much insurance problems. My husband was trying for 3 weeks to start the insurance process to get me moved over to his insurance because Cobra is stupid. Their HR person ended up getting fired because apparently he wasn't responding to not just us. He wasn't responding to anybody in the entire company.
Oh, fantastic.
So they backdated all of my stuff. But I don't think his insurance is going to cover this either. But between getting sick and starting this medication, I went from 249 to 233.
Oh,
in
wow.
a little over 30 days.
Nice.
And now I'm just kind of plateaued, but I've also been eating like shit. So
Well, yeah. I feel like that's the after effects too. Once you don't eat for a long time, then you're like, I did all the foods.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of neat though. Like you're not hungry. You're not hungry because it slows down your digestive process.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only eat so much. And there's probably still something left from the last time that I ate. So like I get halfway through whatever I'm doing and I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
So which then means that, your stomach shrinks a little bit. So now I just can't
Eat as much.
I put as much on my plate as I used to. And then I get like, I've had to stop myself. It's been good. I'm mindfully eating.
Yeah.
As soon as I start to feel the least little bit full,
You stop.
I'm done. And I told my husband, I was like, you may see it as me wasting food. And I understand that. And I'm going to try and back down on what my portions. And I'm going to try and not cook like there's 10 of us
Right.
because I don't know how to not cook like there's 10 of us.
I don't know either.
So
When I cook, it's for like
that's why when you're out of town and I offer your partner food, he's like, I can cook. And I'm like, I know, but also I cooked so much food. I just need to give it away to somebody.
Yeah.
Just eat the food.
Well, and I'm terrible at leftovers.
I'm a good cook. Eat the goddamn food.
Like I cook like there's 10 people in the house, and then for me leftovers like are like 2 to 3 day thing, and then after 3 days if there's still leftovers in there I'm like, I don't know, it's old.
They're probably not good anymore either.
Well, yeah, but he'll eat leftovers for like 5 weeks if I let him. Like, like half of the time I have to go through and like he'll yell at me if I throw something out of the fridge that like he wanted to still eat, and I'm like,
Probably why he doesn't get sick as often as we do.
well, that's probably true. He's got a
I shouldn't say that often. I have not been sick since 2019.
yeah.
So this was really disappointing.
It was a long haul. Well, and then the thing is we both got better, and then I went last weekend to go see my mom, which involved little children. And thankfully, I was going to stop by my sister's house on the way home, and she goes, the little one's been throwing up all night. And I was like, all right, I'm going to leave something on your front porch and I'm going to drive away. I'm going to peace out on that. And then we went over to his family's house and saw 2 little people because the third little person couldn't come over because they were sick with mom. So they stayed home. But then during dinner, I felt so bad. Birthday boy.
Number 3 was sick or number
2. Number 2
the
was middle. Sick. The middle was sick, and the baby was sitting there and after dinner and shoving all kinds of like croissants and everything else in her face. Just threw up everywhere.
Yeah, it's probably from eating.
Well, and at first I was thinking that, but then the other 2 were homesick with the same kind of thing.
Oh.
And so then like half of the people from Sunday dinner got a stomach bug. And so my partner came down with it, and I felt real bad because we had dinner Sunday night, and I think Tuesday morning his mom texted us and was like, hey, just want to let you know I got what the baby had. I hope you 2 are feeling okay. And I'm like sitting there going, oh God, no, I just got done being sick again. It's like, no, it's like, I feel okay so far. And then later that night I got a text from him that was like, I'm not going to make it to you, Gur. I feel awful. And I was like, oh, so I slept on the couch all week so that he could have the bedroom and be sequestered so that I didn't get anything. And yeah,
Dude, my husband sleeps like the dead.
Yeah.
So I had to cough with all of this stuff. I'm still coughing. I don't know why, but there's nothing wrong with me. I just keep coughing.
Oh no,
So-
that shit lasts forever.
So I I would wake up in the morning. I'm like, did I keep you awake? Because I think one night I actually went to the couch because I just could not. Like the Tessalon Pearls weren't doing it. I was taking all kinds of I was taking generic Mucinex. I would look at it and I'm like, this has dextromethorphan and guaifenesin. So like the stuff that I can't. You take the good stuff. I can't take that. There is a version of what is in Sudafed that is for people who cannot have Sudafed.
Yeah.
Dextromethasone.
Yeah. It's not as good.
So I was taking that, but there's also another D medication that's in like NyQuil. It's an antihistamine.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, this one has this D medication and this one has this other D medication. And then I like grabbed the third box and I'm like, well, this one has this much medication in one pill, as this one has in 2 pills, and you're only supposed to take one of these, but I can take 2 of the fuck. So I'm like mixing and matching meds.
Yeah.
Still couldn't stop coughing. And I went to the couch one night, but for the most part, I was like, I hope I didn't keep you awake. And he was like, no, the dog woke me up once.
Yeah.
Were you coughing? And like all fucking night.
Oh. Yeah. I tell you what, okay. First of all, the first 2 nights I slept on the couch downstairs. I hate the couch. He knows this. We bought a new couch like over a month ago, and we just got an alert yesterday that it's actually at the delivery facility. So they should be scheduling delivery the next week.
Yeah, because they told you May, and I was like, are they like harvesting wood to build the frame?
Well, that's the thing, because we ordered it at the beginning of March, and I'm like, really, guys? Like, this has been like, and I had the delivery date. Like, I'd go and check the shipping or whatever, and it has to ship from the whatever manufacturer facility to the delivery facility, and then the delivery facility calls you to schedule the delivery. And I was like, okay. But I kept checking the date of when it was leaving, like when it was going to get to the delivery facility. And at first it was like March 11th through 17th. And then it was April 8th through whatever. And then it was April 28th through May 5th. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like this thing keeps getting back and back and back. Is it on back order? Because it wasn't on back order when we ordered it. But it's at the delivery facility. So hopefully the next week we have it. But I was like, man, it's going to get here like a week too late, because that would have been more comfy to sleep on, because the couch we have now, the problem is the cushions like have like the seats, and the side of the couch that I sleep on, like if you slide down, like, because I prop myself up on pillows.
Right.
And so I'd slide down the pillows in the middle of the night, and then the bump that's like below my butt would end up in the middle of my back. And it was just uncomfortable. And then I remembered I have a futon in my office.
How'd that go?
That was actually cleaned off 2 days ago. And so I slept on there the third night. That was fabulous.
You should just get yourself an air mattress.
I know. Here. Well, I have an air mattress too in there. A twin size one that's like the double stacked ones. But I was like, so I slept on that, and that was pretty good. But the problem is that when I was sleeping on the couch and the futon, Dexter, my cat, he always sleeps with me in bed, and he realized I was not in bed, and so he wanted to come down and sleep with me. Well, when I'm sleeping on a couch, there is not enough room, because like he makes me. I mean, I do it because, you know, it's our ritual, but like I have to, like my right arm, I prop out like my elbow out. So there's like a little like area for him to curl
nook
up in. Yeah, there's a nook for him to curl in. You can't do that when you're sleeping on a couch. There's just not enough room. So like I'm sleeping, and I sleep like a mummy, so it's fine for me to sleep. But like he realized there's not enough room to him sleep next to me. So he'd just crawl up right on my chest and start headbutting me because he wants to cuddle. And I'm like, dude, it is like 3:00 in the morning. Can you stop headbutting me? And then he's sleeping on my chest, and you wake up with like a 12-pound cat like on your lungs. Like, this is hard to breathe. Can you not? So that was my sleeping experience, because it was like, even on the like futon, when I was like, okay, this is a little more comfortable, he still popped up there and was like, I'm gonna sleep right here. And I'm like, no, no, you're not. You have 5 other beds around me. Like, go somewhere else.
Oh, that's where I was going with that. I can't bring the boy cat into the bed, but when I was super sick, I would go get the girl, Honey, and I would like, I don't know, run past my husband with her and like shut the bedroom door. And then what I do is I bring her in, and she only weighs 6 pounds.
Yeah.
So I like,
That's more reasonable.
I lay down with her, and she tries to figure out what she's doing. She wants under the covers and over to one side. So I'm like, pick a crook of my arm, or normally what she'll do is, so because I sleep on my back, she'll like put her hind haunches like where my crotch is.
Yeah.
And then just stretch her entire body up the length of mine to where her paws are then now touching my chin. Mm-hmm. And then she'll just go to sleep. And I'm like,
Oh,
whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
it's fine as long as she actually goes to sleep. It's the 25 minutes of let me
Pawing
need you.
and
And I'm
yeah.
like, hang on, let's get up and go get some clippers because I don't need you piercing my lip.
Oh yeah, that's the worst too. Is like when I have like when you're fully clothed, you got a bra and you got other things on
Yeah.
and whatever. I've got clothing pieces, so if like he paws at anything, fine, whatever. But like when you're in bed, like if I have like a t-shirt on,
Yeah.
and he steps on the wrong spot without blankets on it, I'm like, dude, like that hurts.
They're like, I don't care.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sorry, I need
You find
to be
out
over here.
exactly which body of yours, or body part of yours is super squishy because your cat will find it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, hey, your bladder seems full.
Right? And that's the thing. Every time he would jump on me, I'm like, now I have to pee. Thank you. And then
You
I
guys
just
don't
get
have
up.
it downstairs.
No, and we don't have a downstairs bathroom, so I'd have to walk upstairs, go to the bathroom, then come back downstairs. Then he'd be sitting there waiting in the middle of my bed, and I'm like, no, move.
I'm like, no, I sleep here now.
Yeah.
Oh
Like,
my God.
oh, God, it was the worst. But yeah, so we're both feeling better now.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I feel so much better. I sound like sometimes like I have the plague.
Yeah.
But, that's just the first week back at Euchre. I'm like, I'm not contagious. Coughing up chunks of my lung. I'm like, I'm cool. I got it. So when I went to have my chest x-ray, they were like, you're going to have a follow-up. And I'm like, I'm going to have insurance. Because they only do a one view.
Yeah.
So typically you get like a side view and a front view when you
Right.
do like a full chest x-ray, and they can't do that at the urgent care. So they just do the like, they wheel in the thing and they like shove it up against your chest and put the plate behind your back. And they're like, good enough. And then leave. And so she was like, no, I don't see any pneumonia, but there is something that your doctor is going to have to look at. And I was like, what? So between Kat and her husband
Yeah.
and other people, I was like, what? Not cool.
Yeah, not cool, bro.
What is it? I had to go look it up myself, which had I asked Kat what the term was, she would have known. So they call it something scarring, but all it is like a semi-deflation of your lower lobe.
Oh, okay.
So she was like, you have to go get that checked out. She was like, I don't think the entire lobe is deflated, but
So you have a collapsed lung too?
yeah, apparently.
So
I
is
don't-
this a more common thing that I think it is?
Apparently. I'm like, I don't know. So I'm going to go get it checked out, and we're just going to hope that their x-ray technician is. To be honest with you, I worked as a medical assistant, and that's who is helping in
Yeah.
the urgent cares. And don't know that like you go to school or for much coursework when you do that. I'm
Yeah.
not like throwing shade at like a medical assistant. That's what I was. But I'm pretty sure if you go to work in that situation, they're like, let's show you how to use the machine. Good luck. I mean, you're not an x-ray tech.
No, you take the pictures and then somebody else reads them.
Well, you don't, even as an x-ray tech, you don't, but like there's more to know being an x-ray
Yeah.
tech than just like aiming the machine at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was just like, yeah, it looks good, and walked out. And I was like, okay,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's right,
Yeah.
but whatever. It was like when I worked at a hospital. What was I working at? I don't remember which hospital I was working at, but we had to learn it was Miami Valley. We had to learn how to use an ultrasound machine. Because one of our duties was to go and do bladder ultrasounds. Like if they wanted to know, like if the nurse was like, can you go do a bladder ultrasound to find out if there's extra urine in the bladder, if there's this, that, or the other. I forget the circumstances. I've only done it twice and I don't like it because you have to press on somebody pretty goddamn hard.
No.
But yeah, they taught us how to use them. I don't know how to read it. Like they were like, this is what it should look like. And then this is what it looks like when it's full. They gave us pictures. I was like,
But there's no like in between or
so I've got the machine and I'm like, picture, picture. And they're like, the patient's like, what do you see? And I'm like, I don't like a fucking denser blob than that blob. I don't
You've got some blobs in there.
This looks more, I don't even know if echogenic is the right term. Like this looks whiter, greener. The machine that they gave us was like this old ultrasound machine. So it was like using Linux.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just,
Okay.
it was just a black screen with green dots on it and varying shades of green. I'm
Man.
like, that's not Linux. Yeah, DOS. You remember using laptops or computers that had DOS? Did you ever have to do that?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, my dad did computer software stuff. He designed simulators.
Oh, okay.
So I remember would go visit dad when I was a young kid before, like, everybody had like when I was in high school, everybody had a computer that had the dial up and you had like AOL text messaging. So when we were probably elementary school, my dad had one of those big ass computers with the keyboard, and it was just like a black screen with green text on it everywhere. Yeah. And I like, we didn't touch it, but I remember seeing it all the time.
That's what, when I took computer literacy in high school, we had to learn like what RAM stood for and what ROM stood for and what this was and what that was. So there were all these terms that we learned.
Yeah.
Never had to fucking use again. I couldn't tell you RAM from ROM if you put a gun to my head.
I don't remember.
I know it's read-only memory and something access memory, but I can't tell you what either of them do.
All I know is I need a shit ton of RAM on my computer to run half the programs I run.
Yeah, I know that when my laptop at work was running poorly, I was like, I think I need a new laptop. And the guy took it and did an analysis, and he was like, no, you just need like eight more gigs of RAM. And if you need more than that, then you need a new laptop because I can only do so much with this one.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me and it ran great for like a year and a half and then tanked.
Well, they only last for 3 years tops.
Yeah. I don't know if I told this when we were on the last one. I got a new laptop.
At your company before you left?
Yeah.
And you got to keep it?
No.
Oh, you
no, but I had to take back 2 of them because I never gave them the old one back. Because I was just, instead of transferring shit over, it was just easier to have both laptops up and just go look at something here and then email myself.
So I have 2 laptops right now hooked up to.
Yes, you do.
3 monitors. And I have another laptop in my backpack because I just got a new laptop at work.
And then you have your fancy ass pad.
Oh, my graphics tablet. I love it.
Graphics tablet.
My Wacom. I made him install the drivers and stuff on my new laptop at work for my Wacom, so that way I could take it into work if I need it.
Nice.
I was like, the IT guy left, so the new people don't know shit. Hey, they were like, what do you need installed on your laptop? And I was like, I need this and this and this and this and this. Thank you.
Yeah, Brandy also had the pleasure of what was it, putting in some type of order, and they were like, we didn't budget for this, and you're like, they told me I could have it, so
yeah. So I spec'd out a new computer for myself, and like it's been a year since I spec'd it out, and when I turned it in,
probably not even right now.
Well, the thing is that I turned it in, and I didn't think I was actually gonna get it because it's been a year, but like finally, like, bosses, whatever, they went and finally got like the approval for the budget because I priced it out online of what, I talked to some Dell people and whatever, and they priced it out and got the right price and everything else, and I was like, all right, and so they approved the price, and then it goes to the IT guy, and the guy is like, wait, I didn't have any involvement in this. What's happening? Why do you need this? Why do you need that? And I'm like, dude, just buy the computer.
I am the digital marketing person for the entire fucking company.
It got approved. Just buy it. Like, why does it matter? Just buy the computer, which I got it. And he ordered it. I gave him all the specs and everything, and he ordered it. And I got it in, and he left the company. Yeah. And so I got it literally like 2 days after he left the company. And as soon as I got it in, I was like, oh, yeah, he did me dirty a little bit. But he got me like most of the specs I needed, but it has 2 hard drives on it, and they were both supposed to be a terabyte. The second hard drive is only 500 gigs. And then the screen was supposed to be like a 4K OLED screen.
Yeah.
No, it's the high def, like plain regular. It's not the touchscreen or anything like that. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I can live without the touchscreen and stuff. Whatever. It's, I don't have the pretty visuals and things that I get to look at, but at least I have like the internal specs that'll actually run the programs I need.
That's nice.
So
That's
yeah.
nice.
So I'm like, okay, fine. But like, you could have gotten the other shit too. It was no skin off your back, and clearly you were leaving. So what the fuck?
Right. So because I'm not working anymore, I made some changes to my LinkedIn profile. And I've gotten a couple of like, hey, I'm a recruiter for blah, blah, blah. And I just write back and I'm like, look, I'll thank you for reaching out. And I'm going to, if you don't mind, I might reach out to you later this summer. I'm in the middle of doing some educational work. I'm going to take some time and blah, blah, blah. Which, to be honest with you, I've been off work since March 3rd and I'm taking my first class Monday. It's fine.
Hey, you took a break. That's
yeah. I mean, there's only so many classes that I can take. They're fucking expensive for one.
Oh yeah.
So this course was $600 for 2 days, but it includes the cost of certification if I want to certify.
Well, that's good.
My mom was like, so what's the class that you're taking? And I was like, Safe Agile for POPM. And she just looked at me and I was like, yeah, if I tell you more, it's not going to make it any better.
Nope.
Like, that's just how it is. I was going to go through this whole agile thing, and then I started reading into it, and I was like, well, I could, and I may still do it just so I know things. But for a product owner, product manager, you don't really need to know the entire agile structure. And I might still do it just to become an agile coach, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. So I'm taking this stupid course. I had to go out and buy new shirts because I didn't want to sit on Zoom in a t-shirt.
I mean, that's fair.
I'd have to shower Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
It feels unfair. But yeah, so I'm getting these, messages and I'm like, yeah, if I can reach out to you at another time, that'd be great. And they're like, yeah, just get, and I don't mind like talking to the recruiters because I'm not the one who has to pay them. So I don't care.
Yeah.
It would be different if they were like, well, you have to pay us to find you a job. And I'm like, no, you're a fucking headhunter. I'm not paying you shit.
No.
But it's also nice to be wanted.
Yeah.
It's a lot of healthcare stuff. So I'm like, that's fine.
good.
I wanted to stay in healthcare. So I get this other message and it was like, you have a message on LinkedIn. I don't have the app. I just go on the web thing.
Yeah.
I don't need the app. I interact with it so little. So I get this message and I can tell the story on here because I could use his whole fucking name on here because he doesn't listen. He has no idea what's going on in my life. I get this message from this guy. It says, hey, cool cat. Because that's how fucking suave he is.
Okay. He sounds like the 80s.
So I dated him back in the 2000s, back in the aughts. We were dating.
The aughts.
The aughts. Yeah, we were dating in 2001. I'm like, when did 9/11 happen? Yeah, we were dating then.
Yep.
Because my niece was, how old was my niece? My niece is going to be 22. That means she was born in 2001. Yeah. So in those times, because I think she was born by then. So we had dated, didn't work out. We kind of stayed friends. After a while, we became friends. I'm bitter and I can hold a grudge.
Yeah.
So we eventually we're fine. We became friends and it's cool and whatever. So the message is from him. The reason why I find it odd is because when everything started in 2020 after George Floyd, he and I were Facebook friends and I saw a post that he had made and I commented on it because of the conversation that was going on it.
Yeah.
And I said, you clearly fail to see the inequities that happen in the justice system. Mm-hmm. And frankly, it really is biased toward being white, being male. I'm like, everything that we are involved in today.
Yeah.
Every structure of power that you see is biased toward white men, which means it's biased against brown and black men.
Yeah.
It's just, it is what it is. These things where the structure was set up at a time where black men were not considered humans. Black women were not considered humans. And, like there's this whole thing of intersectionality where the bottom of the pile, depending on how you look at it, not bottom of the pile, but you know what I mean? Like in this, the way that the structure was set up, white men, then white female, and so on. So, and it can be a toss up depending on what the subject is about, whether it's black men or black women that end up being the ones who are the most oppressed in that system. So like you and I as women have a certain level of oppression, but we're also white, which means we have a certain level of privilege,
right?
That allows us to work within that structure. So I made some comment like that. And he was like, I need you to explain to me how you see systemic racism in the law. And I was like, you know what? I don't fucking have to.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be this person, I don't fucking have to explain anything to you.
No.
Block, delete his number from my phone, block his number on my phone, delete his number from my phone. You have to do it in the right order. So he has no way of contacting me except apparently through LinkedIn. It's 2023. I did that in June of 2020.
Oh, wow.
There's nothing I have to say to this person.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether to reply so I can be an asshole.
Yeah.
Or if I just want to block him there too. Also, my mom is like, why would he reach out to you after all this time? And I was like, I don't know. I had to block some guy I dated when I was 21 on 4 different social platforms and dating platforms as he followed me like over. We dated when I was 21, 22, 20, 21, something like that. He found me on MySpace. He found me on Match.com. He found me on not Match. What was the other one where they're like 44 points of blah, blah, blah.
Oh, like the DNA thing?
No, the dating thing. What what was the one that, like the elite one, like not Match.com, but the one where you had to take all the goddamn tests.
Oh,
You know what one I'm talking
yeah,
about.
I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Found me on that one. So I would just go and block him. Found me on Facebook, blocked him there. Found me on something else, blocked him there. So I just constantly blocked him because he got weird. And like I started having to block him in 2008. So it's like, this is,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, like it was weird. And I'm like, are you that person now? Like, am I going to have to just start finding you and blocking you? The odd thing is that we must have a friend net. He must have already been in my friend network
Yeah.
because I've got all of my stuff changed to my married name. So I'm like, did you find me or are we friends? Because now I have to figure out if I can unfriend you before I unblock you because I want you to know that I'm not friends with you anymore.
Right.
I just, who does that?
That's a long-term commitment to like keep finding somebody.
Part of me wants to just message him and be like, you know, has your mind changed any from 2020? And if he's like, nope, or if he's like, I don't even remember why we aren't talking anymore. I do.
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking talk to you now either.
Nope. I'm good.
I mean, my husband doesn't care. He's not worried that I'm going to run off with this guy. He's just like, I find this odd. And I'm like, me too.
Because I feel like that's the last thing your husband would ever do is like stalk somebody over the decades.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he wouldn't do that.
Once he's done with you, he's done with you.
Yeah, I could see that. He'd be like, all right.
Never even thought about it.
And he would just shrug and walk away and be like, meh, okay.
I mean, he knows I'm not going anywhere. So.
So it's fine. Oh, those cherries are strong, man.
Yeah, we had when Jasmine was sick, he and I had gone out of town and I had to leave. I was like farming out animals. Like, hey, somebody come and, you know, take care of these two. They're fine. Jazz had to go stay with my friend Christina's family. And this was when they had moved into their new house. So like we're literally dropping her off in Indiana on our way someplace else. And I want to say when we were going to Arizona.
Yeah.
Must have been that. So we were dropping her off. We're going to be gone for almost 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And so she would send me pictures. Like Jasmine just hung out with her son and she's old. She was sick. She was, you know,
Yeah.
I'm like, you shouldn't have to give her fluids. I'm like, if anything happens or she starts acting like funky, just let me know, take her to the vet, tell them to give her sub-Q fluids and then she'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I go to pick her up and she goes, I don't know how to explain to you how every day I just kept waking up going, oh my God, please don't let her be dead.
Yeah. I did think about that last time he was here. I was like, what happens if this dog dies while we have him?
And put him in the freezer.
Right? Like, I'm like, what? Oh, there's no room in the freezer. We'd have to eat all the things.
Do not take him to the brewery and put him in the freezer.
Oh, dear God.
I feel like that's a huge health code violation.
Yeah, I would think so.
Oh my God.
I would hope so. I don't know.
I don't know. We had a cat die when I lived in Florida, and my roommate wanted to bury her because cremation can be expensive.
Yeah.
So she was like, I've got 9,000 pets buried in my backyard at the old house. So she was like, and I was moving back to Ohio, and she goes, well, your mom and dad just take Fifi with not Fifi. Nefertiti. Well, they take TT back and bury her with all the other animals. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like she died suddenly.
Yeah.
And we just like cleared, we didn't have much in the freezer, but whatever we had in the freezer, we managed to fit in the door of the freezer.
Nice.
Or just threw away. We wrapped Fifi in plastic and then wrapped her in a towel, then wrapped her in a plastic bag and then slid her into the freezer.
Yeah.
And then for like 3 weeks, we were just like reaching in the door blindly to grab like whatever ice cream we could so that we didn't have to look at TT.
Look at the,
And then when my parents got there, we, on the last day that we were there, before we packed up, I drove to Winn-Dixie, drove to the Winn-Dixie,
Nice.
got a styrofoam cooler, dry ice.
Yep.
Put TT in the cooler, packed dry ice on top of her.
Yep.
Off we went.
Yeah.
And then we stayed someplace overnight. And like we had to, how we picked where we were staying is whatever was closest to a grocery store with dry ice.
Yeah.
So that morning we got up and we went and bought new dry ice and we put it on top of TT and went home. And my dad put her in the deep freezer and then eventually buried her. But mom was like, I have to keep moving the cat to get like the schwans out of the freezer.
You know the weird part? I don't even know. So, like, we've had limited animals growing up that have passed away. We had a dog when we were growing up, Argus. He was delightful. He was a black lab pit mix.
Yeah.
Super nice dog. Best. Oh my God, he defended me in Brook like you wouldn't believe. Me and my sister. And but when we got a little older, he was chasing after a female dog, ran in the middle of a busy street, and that was the end of him. Semis like to drive up that street, so it wasn't great. And thankfully we were out of town when it happened, because I feel like my sister would have died if we were in town, because my God, she was balled up on the floor crying for a good 24, 48 hours at my dad's house. I know. I felt bad. It was like her dog, which in fairness, I loved Argus, but we had to get rid of my dog because he kept picking it up by its neck and flinging it across the yard. So,
That seems unfair.
It seems unfair, but he came first and the other dog came second. Mine was a fluffy little dog and he was this, big. So it was like, all right, fine. We got rid of my dog. So, but then after Argus died, I don't know what happened to him. That's the thing. Like, I don't know if he got buried or cremated or I don't know what happened to him. No clue. No idea. And my cat that I had that I got after Argus passed away, Alex, I had him for years. I got him in 5th grade, and I think he finally, when I was in college, my mom, he was a barn cat that we got from my aunt's parents. They had a farm way out yonder, and they had a litter that got born or whatever in the barn or whatever. And so we got Alex. He was a barn cat. And so then he became old, and I guess he was peeing everywhere and everything else. And so my mom, while I was at college, decided to take him back to the barn where he came from.
You don't know how to be a barn cat?
He went back to the barn to live with the other cats. I know. And I was like, are you okay? All right. So he went back to the barn to live with the other cats. And that's the last. So I have no idea what the fuck happened to him. Which I'm like,
She had him put down, didn't tell you, didn't she?
No, that's my thing. Oh no, I fully believe, because she would have had to pay for that shit. So I fully believe she took him back to the barn, because they still live in that house with the barn and everything and the horses and whatnot. So I'm like, I fully believe she took him back to the barn. But also it's one of those things, like when I was in college, I had a ton of friends that said that. They were like, well, your parents always tell kids, like when they have pets and stuff, that they went to the farm or whatever. And I was like, no, I legit believe Alex went to the farm. Like he literally went back to the farm. It's just what happened to him after that. God knows what.
God knows. I think
know what I'm going to do with Dex. He's 16.
I think Dr. White will, I think you have to take him to, I think everybody goes to Twin Pines or something, and then cremation is not.
Yeah.
Oh no. I tell you what, you will check with Allie.
Yeah.
And Allie will tell you which vet to take them to, because she only has to pay like $125 for
Oh, nice.
cremation.
Okay.
Had I known that, I would have had Jasmine cremated, because it broke my heart to, like, they were like, yeah, we bury them. And I was like, yeah, like in a pit with everybody. Like they gave me fur, and my vet actually took paw prints and gave me fur, and then just sent the cat there.
Yeah.
So, and I love Jasmine. Like I'm about to pay a stupid amount of money to get a little piece of jewelry or bracelet made by that lady who makes, memorial stuff with breast milk and semen and
all the weird fluids.
all the things. I'm about to send her some fluffy Jasmine hair and be like, can you make me something out of this?
Nice.
I don't even like my dogs as much as I like that damn cat.
Cats are a whole different thing. I feel like dogs are loyal, and like I feel like when you think about
If
pets,
a cat loves you,
if
That's
a
a
cat
lot.
loves you, that is that's a monumental thing. Dogs love you. Dogs will always love you. Dogs are like the most loyal, like best friend, like pets things that you can have.
Right.
But like when you have a cat, like your cat is like, it takes you years to build that relationship to the point where that cat is like, all right, I like you.
yeah.
I may not love you, but I like you. You're
Yeah.
okay.
Oh my gosh. Because I had them as they were my niece's cats. And then they all when everybody went to live with my mom and dad. I had 2 of the cats at my grandparents' house. We had so many cats at the house. By the time she moved in and her mom moved in and the 2 cats moved in, at our house, we already had Tinkerbell, Shadow, another Jasmine, and a Monique. And then they brought Jasmine and Lily. And I took the original Jasmine and Monique to my grandparents, or actually to my apartment and then to my grandparents' house. fucking that Jasmine, she was a Himalayan. She pissed all over that apartment, like around the edges of the apartment floor. I had to go by. I got my deposit back. That's all I care. They weren't going to come back and get the deposit from me.
Yeah.
But the week before I moved out of there, I took those 2 cats back to my mom's house, and I was like, "You're gonna have to keep them separated in the front room." So, because they're peers, so in the front room, if they peed, it was easy to clean up and couldn't soak in. And then I went and bought like gallons of Nature's Miracle and like steam cleaned around the edges, and then just poured it down onto the carpet the night before they came for inspection. And they were like, "Oh, and it smells so pleasant in here, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, wait until it fucking rains. Smells like cat piss. But when I moved to Florida, I couldn't take them because I knew that I was like, I'm not damaging. So when I moved to Florida, I took my niece's cats. They were born in 2002. I was in Florida in 2004. I brought them back with me in 2006. And then they ended up moving into the house when I bought it in 2008. So I lost Lily 2012. I think it was when my grandmother passed away. Jasmine got sick in 2015. And then we just milked it away until 2018 when she finally gave it up. But I don't know. I love Jasmine. She was the best cat ever. I guarantee, oh, shoot. I have to give my cats B12 shots today. I guarantee you I will never have another cat again that would like, I had to give her fluids every other day, like string up a bag of saline and give her fluids under her skin. And she had special food and she had to be bathed on occasion. And she was very bad condition for kidneys, but like she lived 2.5 years longer than she should have. She should have died the day she went into kidney failure. Yeah. I was like, just make her live till Monday when I can see my vet. She didn't care. Never caused a problem. You could stick a pill straight down her throat.
Never had.
You didn't have to bundle her. I just would like pick her up, tilt her head back, stick a pill down her throat. She never bit me. She never tried to do anything. These 2 that I have now, the amount of layering that I have to do to get a capsule down their throat.
I can't do capsules with Dex.
So I have that leads to something that I had to spend a shit ton of money on. One of these goddamn cats. So they're on a medication that it's Tylenol, which is a powder, and it's incredibly bitter. So I was mixing it in treats. They wouldn't eat the treats. I was mixing it in the treat, putting it in like a needleless, like a flushing syringe.
Yeah.
And it would be less than a milliliter of food with the 16th of a teaspoon of powder in it. And like, I still had to wrap them up and shove it all the way to the back of their throat. Otherwise they'd spit it out and drool it out. So I bought gelatin capsules, and I have tediously filled up gelatin capsules with the amount of powder that I need. And then I got this pill popper, and I was like, it's not the best pill popper, but it really works. Yeah. But it was starting to like get weird. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm going to buy this one. This seems to be well rated. Yeah. It's like 4 stars. So I bought this other one. I made sure that the tip was secured on it because it's like a plunger with a silicone tip on it. So you pull the plunger back, you put the capsule in the silicone holder, and then when you put the whole thing in their mouth, you can push it through. The plunger pushes it out into their mouth. Yeah. The silicone tip is supposed to stay attached. Like it. Oh no!
It came off with the pill.
Came off with the pill in Honey's mouth. No. And she swallowed it. Bitch has spit out every capsule I've ever put in her mouth. Like I have to do it 3 times every time we go to give her capsules. Yeah. 3 times. Popped it into her mouth. She swallowed every damn bit of it.
Oh dear God.
So I like run into the office. I have to go take her to the ER. My husband's like, what? And I'm like, she swallowed a whole fucking here. And I'm like, she swallowed one of these. I'll be back. So I go get dressed tonight. And Honey's just walking around like, I don't know what you're talking about. I feel fine. Yeah. And the thing is that it's an inch long. And it's about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch around. Yeah. Like around, not the diameter, but she's a 6-pound cat. Mm-hmm. So if you know anything about digestion, and it's silicone, it's not going to degrade.
No. That's going to get stuck in her intestines real quick.
Yep. That's why I was like, we're going to have a blockage within 5 hours. So I round her up take her to the ER. They were like, what'd you do? And I was like, this is what she swallowed, because I had the spare one. I was like, this is what she swallowed. And they were like, well, thanks for bringing that. It's not going to show up in x-ray, so we're not really going to know where it is, but we're hoping it's in her stomach. We're going to make her throw up. Okay, that's $350 is the estimate to make her throw up. Do you know how you make a cat throw up? You give them a large amount of sedative,
Oh God.
and then they'll either throw up or it won't work, and then they'll reverse it and hopefully bring them back. And they were like, do you... here's this paperwork. And I was like, I feel like such an asshole. She's a 9-year-old cat, almost 10. I was like, DNR.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm like, no. Because then the next option is, if she doesn't throw it up, it's $3,000 for an endoscopy to go in and like try and pull it out.
Screw that.
And if it has left her stomach, it's another $3,000 to $4,000 to do surgery.
to like pull it out.
So I was like, oh, what kind of an asshole am I going to look like if they're like, so you want to do a scope? And I'm like, nope, just put her down. I mean, you already gave her. I already gave it to her. If that doesn't work right away, can you just like not reverse it? I don't know. I felt like such a dick. But she ended up throwing it up. And then I left a horrible Amazon review. And my mom was like, well, they should have to pay you that $300. I'm like, it's fucking manufacturer in China. They don't give a shit.
No,
about cat.
they don't care.
Like, it was my dumbass mistake for buying it. But yeah.
Well, but nor were they like, they'd look at that and go, whatever.
So, yeah. So now we're back to, she won't fucking swallow anything without like multiple attempts, but I have to burrito them in 2 to 3 different blankets. So I'm literally carrying, I'm holding my hands out like this, bigger than a basketball. They are a bundle of blankets by the time I take them in. They can barely swallow because I've got them like wrapped up to their chin.
Yeah.
And the whole point is just so that their head will stay still and they can't claw me with their front claws or just fall out the bottom.
Yeah.
Twice a day,
Oh God.
at least for the next 60 days.
See, I've at least gotten it figured out where when Dex needs to take medicine, the vet now knows that they have to give it to me in liquid form. And if they give it to me in a syringe liquid form, that I just have to fill it up and give him a certain amount.
Yeah.
He has prescription food that he has to take. And he can't eat treats or anything because he has a sensitive tummy. So they make his prescription food in not only it's technically like wet dry food because it comes in a Ziploc baggie, but it's dry like morsels.
Yeah, it's
but
like
they're like
moist.
soft,
Yeah.
morsels. So that's what he eats on a normal basis. But then they have wet food that has like a gravy that is like his treats that I give him when like, I want to give him a treat.
Yeah.
I give him the wet food because he loves it and he loves the gravy and stuff like that. So if I give him one of those and I put it on a plate and then I just squirt the liquid medication on top of it, he will guaranteed eat all of the gravy at least and most of the like, food that's in it. So I'm like, at least he got all the medicine because he licks up all the gravy and then there's just like dried little like nugget things left behind. So I'm like, all right, well, he got all the liquid. So that was the important part. So as long as they give it to me in liquid form, we're good. But like, I've never had to shove anything down his throat, thank God, because I feel like they know that he's got all his claws and I will die. So,
Honey and Walter have their claws and so Honey and Walter, I love going to a new vet and they're like, Walter? Look,
it is what it is.
her name used to be Branch, and then I found out she was a girl, and then I tried to call her Vic, and that didn't really work out. So there was a show that I watched called Longmire, and the lead was Walt Longmire, a gray-haired dude.
Yeah.
Hot guy.
Timothy Oliphant. Love it.
No, that's that was Justice.
Oh, different show.
Yeah, Longmire, Robert something or other. I don't know. He's Australian. Go out and watch it. Like, series recommendation. They ended up closing it or finishing it on Netflix. Netflix picked it up from an A&E. It was on A&E and then it went to Netflix. It was much better once it was on Netflix. It just didn't go long enough. But his deputy was named Branch. His last name was Branch. So I thought they were, and he was kind of blonde. So I named my gray cat Walt and I named this one Branch. And then it turned out she was a girl. So I named her the name of the female deputy and it's Vic and it just didn't fit her.
Yeah.
So then we named her Honey because did you ever watch How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
So Katy Perry was on an episode that they never said what her name was. They just said, we call her Honey.
Yeah.
And they were like, why? And then they go through a montage of, oh, honey, of her and then he has to take a picture of me. And they're like, oh, honey.
Oh, honey.
And that's what would happen is when I would go to put Honey on the floor, she didn't put her feet down. She would just funk. like a honey. So she became honey anyway. Yeah, no. Dumb cat stuff. How'd Dexter get his name? Is it from the serial killer? Or from
so
like Dexter's Laboratory?
I get that a lot. Actually didn't rename him.
Oh,
So
okay.
when I adopted him, he was a year old and he was a Humane Society cat that was like but he was like in a pet shop
Yeah.
all by himself.
Aw.
He wasn't in a pet shop that has like, the regular like glass cages and stuff. You go in and
Right.
shop all the pets. It was like some generic pet store that's not a brand name pet store that like my cousin walked into one day in Centerville, and he was just in his own little cage at the front of the store, and she knew that like I lived by myself in an apartment, and she thought I needed a friend and knew I liked cats, and she was like, hey, and she sent me a picture, and I was like, he's all by himself, he's 1 year old, I'll buy him for you and all of the things that you need if you want him. And I was
Aw.
like, all right, sure. So I went and met her at the pet store, and I picked up Dexter, and she bought me a litter box and the first set of food, and then he came to live with me.
Nice. There is at some point when you have animals that are like his age that you're like, I hope that you live for a lot longer. Also, how aren't you dead?
Right? Well, and the funny thing is that like cats can live like what, 20, 25 years.
They can.
Yeah.
They don't, but
I mean, they don't, but they can. And Dexter's 16 now. The thing is when he was 10, he was a lot unhealthier than he is at 16.
oh well, you know.
Because when I got him, I think he was a feral cat that they picked up and then like put him up for adoption and whatever else. Microchipped him, did all the things. And the first 10, 12 years that I had him, like anywhere we lived, I would end up like, he was getting really aggressive with trying to like go outside a lot. And at first he would go outside and he would literally like, if he got out the door, he'd go out the door and just like go out like 3 feet and then lay down on the concrete. He just wanted to roll around on the concrete. And I could go out, pick him up, and bring him back inside. But then as he got older, and I lived in my own house and everything else, like I would have to literally open the door with my foot like pointing forward to like push in because I knew his face was going to be right there trying to get out the door. And I think I got to the point at some point, I don't know, I had a bad day or something, and I was like, I'm tired of fucking doing this. And he got out, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Go have fun. You're 12. Go have fun. And so then he came back 2 hours later. And from then on, I was just like, he'd go out, and I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. Whatever. And then he'd go out. And so ever since then, so for the past 4 years, he's just been an indoor-outdoor cat, and he goes out, and he does his thing, and he comes back.
We should say he's neutered.
He's neutered and he's microchipped, and I even put
got a bell.
Yeah, I put a collar with a bell on him and a little tag that's like has his name on the front, and on the back it says, "I'm not lost. I'm just exploring. Please don't feed me." So he just like goes out and whatever, and he's come back in the past few years, like every once in a while. I'll say once every 6 months or so, he came back with like a chunk, like he clearly got into a fight or something like that, and I would take him to the vet and we'd clean things up, and like he had to go on antibiotics maybe once, but he hasn't gotten into any fights or anything in like a year or so. So I'm convinced he like met a gang and like has protection or something when he goes out. So because there's all kinds of like stray wild cats everywhere in this town. So I'm like, I feel like he's got his buddies.
I mean, maybe he won the fight that you had to clean him up from, and they're like, all right, we're just not messing with him anymore.
Yeah. So, it could be. So he's pretty comfortable doing that. But the thing is like he was always overweight and everything from living inside.
Right.
And ever since I started letting him go out, like he's lost a little weight. He's in better shape. He's way more muscular. Like he's way healthier now than he's ever been. And I'm like, all right, well, you're going to live for another fucking 10 years, dude. I don't know. Like,
Good deal.
yeah. So
Oh my
I don't know. He's doing all right. All right. I feel like we should probably chat about a couple of things that we wanted to.
Yeah.
There's
I was gonna segue. You segued.
yeah, there's some shit that's happened since we've been sick.
Yeah. So
Lots of shit.
So I've been waiting with bated breath, as they say, for this to happen. So there are a lot of investigations that have gone on or have been going on with former President Trump. I don't think they're really going to get anywhere with it, but I do think it's starting a waterfall of things that are going to happen. The people who I think have the best chance of actually securing a conviction is Georgia for election tampering. But the state of New York or the court in Manhattan, whatever.
The district attorney brought again.
District Attorney Alvin Bragg brought 34
counts of.
indicted him on 34 counts. Goodness, I've been fine.
Yeah.
And now we're not. 34 counts in relation to the Stormy Daniels thing. So in case you guys don't remember, Stormy Daniels was a porn star that he allegedly cheated on. I'm not sure why you pay somebody money why you allegedly pay somebody money if you didn't actually fuck them. But so apparently while he was married to Melania, and I think while she was pregnant with their kid,
That doesn't shock me because didn't he leave the last one while she was pregnant for her?
Maybe.
I think that's what happened.
I try not to. I don't know. The people who are like, he is sent to us by Jesus. I'm like, he has fucked his way across the United States down to Epstein's Island and back again. And I'm not sure why you think he's a godly man.
Yeah.
But so he apparently banged a porn star. This is not anything negative about porn stars. Get out there and get your money. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. I was really hoping they would have some kind of civil court and she would have to describe him in public. But this came out while it was during his presidency. And the big deal isn't that he banged a porn star. And the big deal actually isn't even that he paid her money, allegedly.
Yeah.
The problem is that he asked his attorney, then attorney Michael Cohen, to give her $135,000. I think that's $135,000 and some change. Weird ass fucking number to give somebody to not say anything. I think she also had to sign an NDA, which she said, I think
she signed it, but then she broke it.
I think she broke it, or they determined that it couldn't hold up. So she went ahead and was like, yep, I fucked him. And I feel like $135,000 is not enough to fuck Trump. Unless you're asking me to fuck him over. And then yes. So the problem is that Michael Cohen allegedly paid her the money, and then Trump issued a check from his election fund to Michael Cohen to cover the charges, and then he listed it as a business expense. And I'm being very broad about this because I'm not reading all 34 counts. So all of the counts come from basically accounting and business and
him
improper.
using election funds to basically pay off a porn star.
So it's all financial. Do I think that they're going to actually find him guilty of any of this? No, but after this will come the civil case with the woman who brought forth the allegations of rape when she was a journalist.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to pay her some money, in all honesty. I think it's got teeth.
Yeah.
So they couldn't charge him because of, like, I think statute of limitations and some other things, but I think his civil suit, OJ wasn't found guilty, but they made him pay Ron Goldman? Yeah, whatever. They made him pay Goldman's dad money.
Yeah.
Because they found him civilly liable for the deaths. So I think that one will work. There's something else, but then, like I said, the Georgia one is the one that with him calling the what did they call the election person that had election state something or other? Anyway, calling them and saying, find me 117,000 more votes or whatever.
Yeah.
That they will consider that election tampering. And I think they have the best chance for that. And that's federal time. So I don't give a fuck. Something. It's not going to matter. People are still going to vote for him.
I know. The fact that he's still like even considered as being able to run in 2024 is ridiculous to me.
I want him and DeSantis to eat each other.
Oh my God.
Oh, sorry, we didn't even have this on the list. Do you know? I mean, you're a Disney person.
No,
but do you know?
I am, and I love the whole thing. Okay, so I listened to the thing on this. Is DeSantis like? So he basically went after Disney because Disney came out and basically was against the
We
bill.
don't agree with the "Don't Say Gay" bill.
Right. And so then DeSantis basically passed all these things to say that Disney's board. So Disney, like their whole complex in Florida, they run and they have responsibility. They have a board that basically takes care of all the municipalities and like stuff that happens in that district as far as fire.
They
police,
have a deal with something called Reedy Creek.
Yeah. So
And they
take care of
They
all
don't
that.
pay taxes.
Yeah.
Now, I think they pay taxes on wages, like they pay state taxes on the employees' wages, but they don't pay taxes to the state of Florida.
Right, because they take care of all of the infrastructure stuff that happens within the Disney
Florida
complex.
doesn't take care. Florida doesn't support their electricity. It doesn't support their water, their trash, their roads, their nothing.
Disney does all of that, or at least they did.
Right.
And then, So DeSantis passed all these, tried to pass all these things through Florida that basically the state of Florida would be able to take control of the complex where Disney has. So they would be in charge of all that stuff.
And DeSantis has been bragging that like we're going to get to say what goes on Disney Plus and what movies
he was
they make.
bragging about the content and stuff on Disney, how Florida, after they passed this stuff, was going to be able to control content, which I'm
No,
sorry.
you're not. It's
No, you're
fucking
not.
Disney
It's
World.
Disney World. It's not fucking Disney. But like he was going on a rampage because people listen to shit and don't actually look into anything. And so they'll believe him when he says shit. So he was doing that. And then basically after they passed all the bills and DeSantis was bragging about how like he gets to instate his own board now to take care of all the stuff that happens there. It comes out that Disney actually, the board that Disney had in place in that municipality voted unanimously the day before everything went into effect that the board would no longer have control over anything having to do with Disney besides like infrastructure things as far as roads.
They're completely
water, all the
responsible
stuff.
for all of the financing of infrastructure, roads, and so on, but they have no legitimate powers.
And the best part of it is that the wording that they put into it, and I'm going to fuck this up because I'm a little tipsy.
21 years
After the last surviving heir
descendant
of
King Charles III, which hasn't been coroned.
right. So like King Charles III's last living descendant, 21 years after they die, that's when this gets abolished. So like I read a couple of things that was like 30 years this is in place. And then I read the actual wording and I was like, oh no, fuck, this can go on for millennia.
Yeah.
As long as like King Charles III still has descendants going on. And they've got a couple generations already in the can. So
Right. I mean, we thought it was all going to go to William anyway, but William's popped out heirs left and
I know,
right. Harry
right?
doesn't want anything to do with this, but his kids are still legitimately in line. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
It's like, let's see, it would have to go
all of
William, his 3 kids, and then it would go to Harry and his two kids.
Yeah. So I'm like, none of this matters. So basically now Florida is in charge for financing and the board that is now instated that DeSantis got to appoint. They're now just in charge of financing and being responsible for the roadways and the lights and the water and sewage and all the shit that they didn't have to pay for before. Now they have to pay for it and be in charge of it, but they still get no other control over anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just, and so of course he wants to go to war with Disney.
Yeah.
And I realize that it's impossible. I tweeted this. I know it's impossible to pull Disney World out of there. However, I would be that fucking petty. You know what? Disney is a good business on its own.
Yeah.
Make the California complex bigger.
Yeah.
Buy up everything around it and make Disneyland Disney World.
You know what? They're constantly expanding. I feel like they've got a place in California. They got a place in Florida. Put somewhere in the Midwest. Put something in Nebraska.
Yeah, but it's the
Iowa.
seasonal thing. It's the seasonal
It
thing.
is
for
the
them.
seasonal thing.
Because they
Well-
can be open almost year round.
I would say Texas, but nobody wants to go
No,
to
nobody
Texas.
wants to be in Texas. Fucking Colorado. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, not Arizona. Ah, man.
Oh,
Can you imagine having to get on a ride in Arizona? Like have it been sitting out in the sun all goddamn day?
Make a Disney fucking winter wonderland up in fucking Canada. Like,
Yeah, I don't care where. I don't care where, but in all honesty, that they get to continue on as they are would be the dream goal. Outside of that, my dream is that they just go, you know what? Fuck you. They pull up stakes and they leave Florida.
Yeah.
Now, I would feel bad for all of they're the single largest employer. And DeSantis is like, it's a joke that they're the single largest employer. I don't give
Is it a
shit.
joke?
Is it a joke to those people who earn that money?
And I'm the millions of people that visit every year.
And they
I mean,
basically put on Broadway productions there.
Yeah.
So they have like artists and that they employ so much people. They also pay taxes. They pay state taxes, income tax on their wages. They pay so much shit. I know that Disney doesn't have to pay taxes, but I'm pretty sure that the state sales tax still goes to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, they earn so much money off of this. This is the dumbest fucking thing. This is the worst pissing party that he should have ever got into.
It's so
Pissing match
stupid.
that he should have ever got into because they have enough money to bankrupt Florida and still be fine.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And my question to people who live in Florida is, are you happy about this?
Yeah.
Like, what isn't getting done in your state because that money's being used.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You think that having control over Disney content is more important than anything else? And
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Is that the most important thing in your life?
And you're not getting control over Disney content.
No, you're never getting
the
control over
worst
Disney
thing that
content.
might happen is that they put the Pirates of the Caribbean thing with the wenches back in.
Yeah. I don't understand that whatsoever. Because the Disney park is a completely different, separate entity than the corporation and the entertainment.
So it's like
Corporations are
our
split
Kings
up.
Island.
Yeah.
It is owned by Paramount,
Right.
but it's not Paramount.
Right. You don't get content control over Paramount Productions because of Kings Island.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me. And I don't understand why people think that way, that oh no, it's one whole.
I have news for him. If he's trying to play who's got the biggest dick in the room, they have the biggest dick in the room.
They have the biggest dick in the world.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You're not getting anywhere with them.
I just don't understand.
And the fact that that there was a team of lawyers that immediately went to work and went to the board and was like, all right, you need to pass this day. And that board members were like, yep, okay, here you go.
all of those in agreement.
You pay me salary. Yep, there you go. Have at it.
They
All
must have
right.
got good severance too on their way out.
And I just love that they associated it with somebody in England.
Yeah.
Like the last surviving descendant of a king of England. They were like, fuck America. Here, this is. Oh, you're in Florida? You nation first? Yep. Okay, fuck it. This is the last thing.
We should be like, this is in power until 30 years after the very last redneck gets eaten by a fucking alligator.
They couldn't have put anything else better on that to just make it a big fuck you. That was the biggest middle finger I've ever seen in my entire life when I read that. And I was like, yeah, that was just
Sounds
bravo,
right.
bravo,
Sounds right.
bravo on
Or,
your part.
shut down the fucking park for 6 months out of the year. See how they like that.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, and that's the thing. On your point, all the people that work there and everything else, it's you don't want to fuck them over because there's a huge employment
Right.
of people that work there and make their living off of that park and everything else. So it's Disney also doesn't want to fuck them over, but also fuck the state of Florida for doing what the
At
fuck
some
you're
point,
doing.
you have to just.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be petty enough to be like, let's see how long we can keep this in court, because as long as it's in court, you can't do shit.
Right.
I want an injunction. I want another injunction.
And
I
instead
would
they were
an
like,
injunction.
nope, one swift move the day before you do your shit. We're just going to do this and fuck you.
And they did it legally.
Yep.
They did it by the bylaws. They did all of the things they were supposed to do. Florida DeSantis doesn't like the content of what they passed.
Which is hilarious to me.
But I don't think he's going to get anywhere in court with it.
No, absolutely not. No.
They followed what they were supposed to follow.
They did everything legally and everything by the book. And
Yeah.
they were like, yep, okay.
So I love that.
Yeah,
I
that
love
was a joy when I saw that.
You know what? The whole anti-gay, anti-trans, fucking Florida is already struggling with being one of the stupidest states in the world.
God.
And yet they're banning books. They're, I don't want you to talk about, if you don't want us to talk about gender and sexuality, then you don't get to talk about your heterosexual relationship. You don't get to mention that you have a husband, a wife, kids.
Yeah,
You don't get to use a pronoun. I am Mrs. So-and-so. And you don't, not that Mrs. is pronoun. That's anyway, you don't get to refer to anybody by any pronoun. If you don't want to call Jennifer, who used to be James, her, then you don't get to call Brandy, who's always been her either.
Yeah, I don't care. That's a pronoun that doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
But that's not what they mean. They mean,
Yeah.
I don't want you to talk about gender as it applies to somebody who does not see themselves as binary.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to talk about sexuality or sexual preference as it only applies to somebody who is not heterosexual.
I have never been so overwhelmed with the amount of people who are anti-education.
Yeah. It started, but
it's
you know
very
what?
anti-education. I'm sorry. I know some people come out and they're like, well, I just don't want my kids exposed to this. And it's okay, but your kids are going to get exposed to this at some point in their lives.
Right.
So wouldn't you want to control the narrative and be educating kids on how to be more accepting in things through their early lives? So when they become adults, they're not assholes like clearly you are now.
Right.
Instead of, I'm going to shelter my kids through all of this. And it reminds me of and they've had several of these shows and I can't think of one name off the top of my head, but they have shows and stuff where it's oh, you lived in a bunker for 20 years because somebody said something was radioactive. And then after 20 years, you come out and you know nothing.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's what these people are setting their kids up for, is like,
Yeah.
you're sheltering them so much and bunkering them that like they're going to come out in 20 years and be like, what the fuck is
You're
that?
also making a population who's more easily controlled. If the first
yeah.
thing that you attack is education and the ability to see the world bigger than what's outside your front door, you are easier to control. And I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's no crazier than fucking eating babies at the bottom of a pizzeria.
No, you're making kids so that they can be brainwashed easily.
Yeah.
They're going to come out and listen to the first person that talks to them that
Yeah.
they like are like, oh, that makes sense. And then
Yeah.
they're going to follow them.
You're raising an entire generation of Scientologists.
Dear God.
But yeah, it started with, I still think it started with like Trump running.
Yeah.
And then it got worse with the pandemic, where Trump was saying that just because you went to school for something doesn't mean you're smart about it. And I'm like, that's you trying to say that because you didn't go to school for something, you can still be smart about it.
Right.
I honestly, you can see where it started happening in 2014, 2015, when he started running, 2016 he was elected. But in that time where he was talking about it, there was this narrative that shifted to say, if you are an expert in something, I also am an expert in it, even though I never went to school. I didn't do any studying. I didn't do a residency. I didn't do anything. I'm still as competent as you are. No, you're not. Well, I had to put my kids on Zoom when we were in the pandemic. It does not make you a teacher.
No, it doesn't make you a teacher.
No, teachers have to have secondary degrees. And not only do they have to have bachelors now, they have to have masters. They have to have all of this education every year. They're not dumb. You won't trust them to teach, but you also want to give them guns.
Yeah. There's a whole section of the country, I feel like, that are just raising ignorant children.
Yeah.
They're just raising an ignorant class of people that are just will listen to anything anybody tells them, believe it is absolute truth, and not do any kind of research or homework or any kind of like doubt. They don't have any curiosity. They don't have any kind of like thought for themselves. It's just they will listen to whoever tells them things and just follow along.
Did you see the version of the book that, so there was a book, age appropriate. I think it was like for first or second graders, that was about Rosa Parks. And Florida would only approve it if they removed anything referring to race.
The whole point of Rosa Parks was that it was about race.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the story.
Basically, the story is she sat on a bus and then somebody asked her to give her seat and she didn't.
Yeah.
That's like what, and I'm like, that's not how it worked. That's not how it worked. They want to continue to push the education and the narrative that was started by the daughters of the Confederacy. Yeah. That's all they want to do is continue to push that. And I get what they benefit from it, but it's not like it's never going to come out.
Okay, here's my thing. The Confederacy, wasn't that like the whole Civil War? And correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be. Wasn't that like a 3-year war?
I think it was 5,
5? All right.
4 or 5, something
Okay.
like that.
So let's say it was 5 years. So that shit lasted for 5 years.
Yeah.
Back in
And they're still holding on to it.
over 100 years ago. And like we're still trying to teach things about that 5-year period where half of us were shitheads.
Yeah.
100 years later, we're like, no, they might have been right. They didn't win. They're not right.
They're not right.
Like, they didn't win.
And here's the other thing. The Always Remember group, 9/11, always remember. The South will rise again. I'm flying a Confederate flag group.
Which the Confederate flag was white, by the way, just so
Right.
you know, before they surrendered.
Right.
It was white.
What they have
Confederate
now,
flag
what they
is
have
the
now is
Tennessee
like
battle
some kind of- what they have now is something that was actually adopted, I think, by the KKK and white supremacists.
No, the flag that they the flag they fly now.
Yeah.
It was the Tennessee battle flag.
Oh, okay.
So it was a flag. So each
Fucking
specific
Tennessee. We're going to get there.
Each specific army in the Confederacy like had their own flag, and then there was the Confederate flag. And what happened is the Tennessee battle flag for their whatever militia, whatever, that what we know as the Confederate flag was actually the Tennessee battle flag.
Okay.
And the Confederate flag was the Tennessee battle flag in the little corner where like our stars are on the American flag, and the rest of it was just plain white.
I feel like that's
But
weird.
then after they lost, and like years later, when everybody spouts,
They didn't want their
the
flag to look
Confederacy-
like a surrender flag.
They didn't want their flag to look like a surrender flag because they fucking surrendered, and so everybody adopted the Tennessee battle flag as the Confederate flag because it looked better.
See, I mean, oh my God, everything bad starts in Tennessee.
and then it ends up in Florida.
It's the weather.
I just don't understand how the people who are harping on the shit that came out of a war that lasted 5 years,
Yeah.
where they were the traitors,
Yeah.
where they were on the wrong side, are the same people who look at an entire group, an entire race of people and say, shouldn't you get over that 400 years of slavery already now?
Right.
And
And these are people that still like, I'm sorry, everybody that fought in the Confederate War, they're all dead.
yeah.
So these are ancestors. These aren't even people that actually fought in that war.
Hell, some of these people don't even have ancestors.
Right. They're just like, I'm from the South and this is how we are. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, are you though? Because you're probably like, your lineage probably either came over
Your
from
grandpa
Europe.
came over from Ohio.
Right. Or he was a Yankee and you just don't want to admit it. Like, fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
you moved to Florida 5 years ago. Give it up.
I love my family, but I have a few of them. They're like Southern born and bred. I'm like, you're born in fucking Ohio.
Yep.
Lived here for quite some time.
Yeah.
Your parents were born in Ohio.
Yeah.
We have family in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't. No, you're not Southern. Just because you live in the South doesn't make you Southern necessarily, especially if you're trying to claim heritage. I'm like, no.
And also, isn't it funny? Because this is funny to me. When you look at the United States and how they split the South from the North, the West is always left out of it. Because like people in Arizona, they're not from the South.
Right.
They're Southern state, but they're not from the South. It's only the Southern northeastern states that are like, we're the South, and I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, you're in the South. That's a geological location. Like that's not
Right. So that's what.
And technically, Tennessee is probably more north than it is south.
I'll tell you a really quick version of this story. So when I lived in Panama City, we had gone out to a bar, and Panama City, it has a large military population because of Tyndall Air Force Base, and then they're a naval station, and they're Marines, and there's all kinds of people running around there. So we went to this bar. It's a Western bar. Don't judge us. So we go there. There's only so many places that are open in off season in Panama City. Now it's much different, but in 2004,
Yeah.
slim pickings. Once the streets roll up in October, there isn't much to do. So we go to this bar, and we're sitting there, and there's some guy sitting beside me, just being completely harmless. Like we're all in. He was a young black man with a cowboy hat on. I was like, fuck yeah. So we're sitting there, and the way that the bar is set up is that it's an L-shaped bar, and we are on the. No, I take that back. It's a U-shaped bar. Square U, whatever. We are sitting on one side of it, and on that side, behind the bar, there's actually where they have all these huge trash cans. So you can't actually get served down that length of the bar, but there are the other two-thirds of the bar you can go get served.
Okay.
So this kid comes up and is standing between me and my roommate, and he's kind of being pushy, like elbowing us and shit. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're trying to do. And he's like yelling at the barmaid. And my roommate says, if you want to get served, you might want to go to where they're actually able to reach you, which is around the corner. So then he takes this as an opportunity to be chatty with her. Are you guys from here? No. Well, I mean, you're here. Yes, but you asked if we're from here. We're not from here. Well, and he said something else, and she was like, no, I'm just stationed here. I'm not from here. Where are you from then? And she was like, the North? He was like, no, like what state? And she goes, I'm from Iowa, and she's from Ohio. And he said something else, and she was like, oh, do you think you're better than me? And she was like, I mean, not for the reasons that you think, but yeah. Dude, shitface. This goes on and on. And then at some point he was like, Iowa, that's where they grow potatoes. And she was like, Idaho.
That's Idaho, but yeah.
But do you really want to talk about the GDP of my state? I'm confused where we're having this conversation. And so the guy beside me, he and I are just rolling because she's just having this conversation. I'm just sitting there and she's referencing me, but I'm not part of the conversation.
Right.
And he said something like, again, so you think you're better than we are because you're from the North? And she was like, again, not for that reason, but sure. And he was like, well, I'm from the North too. And she goes, where are you from? And he goes, I'm from Texas. And we all, three of us stop and look at him. And she goes, Texas is north of Mexico, but it's not the North. And he looks at her and he goes, well, what do you mean by the North? And she goes, north of the Mason-Dixon line, like the rest of the fucking country knows. Oh, Well, and his friends at that point like grab him by the shoulders and we're like doing the like, I'm so sorry, like the little wave, like
sorry,
my bad. All right,
yeah,
we let this go as long as we could let it go, and now we have enough to make fun of him for 5 years. So we're gonna pull them off of you. And it was that the entire time we were down there, it was very much a like, oh, so you're from the north, you think you're better than we are, and I'm like, no. I mean, we have an entirely different way to live our lives. And I'm shocked when I moved down there. I've never been so shocked in my entire life as to see so many fucking Confederate flags. And I worked with a black doctor. I worked for an Indian doctor, but I worked with a black doctor. And I said, isn't this terrifying? And he was like, well, these kids, this is 2004. He was like, they don't really know what they're doing. They don't know what it symbolizes. They don't, but now they are 100% trying to say the flag doesn't mean what you think it means.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it's heritage. It's our.
And they're somehow tied to this heritage thing. They're like, can't you just get over it? Well, you won't get the fuck over this.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want. And the generational trauma that might have come from the war is not as ingrained as 400 years.
Yeah.
And it's been proven that trauma actually causes genetic changes. So let's not even talk about slavery. If you talk about a child, they know that children that are raised in a household that is combative, that there's a lot of fighting, that there's a lot of anger, those children their DNA can actually be affected and changed. You can see their brains change.
Yeah.
And it changes them. And then those changes then get passed down.
Yeah.
And if that child experiences the same kind of thing, because it's very likely as you move from one impoverished, generation to another, that the negative things that happen will probably continue to happen. It's a cycle, which means that these people. So when you hear somebody who is Black talk about, generational trauma, they're not saying that like, I feel bad because my great grandmother was enslaved. They're talking about literally their DNA, their genetic makeup was changed because of what was happening. We've talked about it before. Hell, you don't even know who your great grandmother is because you can't trace your family.
No.
I can, without DNA, I can go to archives and like trace my uncle did it, traced us back to England. We're not Indian like everybody told us our entire lives. No shit.
Right.
Whatever. We can do that. They can't do that. But beside just not being able to do that, they've physically been changed generation over generation.
Yeah.
A generation isn't 100 years. In 100 years, you might have 3 to 4 generations.
Right.
It's changed.
Well, and I feel like that is on a biological level.
Yeah.
And on a psychological level, I feel like that happens on both sides because people that live there, like we said, it's been over 100 years since the Civil War and things like that. But I feel like kids who grew up in white households down there and things like that were taught about their ancestors and things that fought in the Great War and like, yeah, it was only a 5-year war. They're constantly being taught about how they were these heroes of the day and whatever else and went out and fought for their side. And so like you're raising a whole generation of kids and then their kids and like it's getting passed down so that like, and I feel like that's why it's such a culture shift when you go down south, because in the north we won and we're like, all right, fuck it, let's move on. And I feel like down there it's like we lost. So they constantly are still passing down that attitude to the kids and then those kids and then those kids. So it's like you're constantly raising a new generation that's living off of this thing that happened 3 generations ago.
And it's a lie.
Yeah, that they had nothing to do with, and it's getting glorified or whatever. And so now the kids that are like, and your doctor that's like, these kids have no idea what they're doing. They don't, because they're living off of this legacy that they've been taught is like this grand thing. And so they're just like, yeah, this is the South and whatever else. And it's like, no, do you understand? They don't understand what the fuck they're talking about because they were only taught this one thing by their parents about this glorified subject that like they had these grandparents that were whatever heroes.
And they've also been taught, and unfortunately you can find so many examples of this on TikTok, and I don't see it directly from the source. I see it when it's stitched, because thank God I'm still on the right side of TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like being on the right side of history, but with video.
Well,
and there are people who will flat out say, this one girl was being stitched and she was like having a whatever you call it, where you do a live and you're both on the live together. And this one woman was like, what? And she goes, well, I mean, not all slaves were unhappy about being slaves. If you were born into slavery and you didn't know anything, I mean, how bad could your life really be?
And you could see the woman on the other side like, what? She's like, agree that some slaves were happy being slaves. And she goes, no. Do you mean that you think that somebody should be happy that they were bought, traded, sold, raped, killed, beaten, taken, had their family? So do you think somebody was happy about that? She was like, well, some were.
And just generally on an everyday basis being told what to do every minute of every day. And if you didn't do it, you got whipped or beaten or whatever else. Like, no. Nobody's happy about that.
There are people who think that this is true because even when I was even my history, when I was taught, history was not history. The history we learned did teach us about slavery and how they were treated as chattel and how there was this, that, and the other, but it didn't make it seem that bad.
Well, and there's always that one story about, but this slave owner was very kind to their slaves. Yeah. And it's like, okay, but they still had fucking slaves.
And they all throw back to the whole Thomas Jefferson thing. And I'm like, he did not have a relationship with Sally Mae Hemings. He raped a child repeatedly to have children with her. They weren't in a relationship. You can't have a relationship with somebody who controls your entire life.
No.
And you certainly can't have a relationship with your master.
Being brainwashed is not the same as being happy.
No. And I'm like, and not, I don't want to use the term brainwashed, but
no, but like
not knowing an alternative doesn't mean that you're happy in what you're doing.
There's what is it? Like Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if that's the only thing you've known your whole life, like, and you think that's a normal thing, just because you think that's a normal thing because that's the only thing you've been exposed to your entire life does not mean that that's the thing that makes you happy,
right? Or
that you're okay with it. It's just that's the only thing you've known.
Go find anybody who was abused from birth on through the foster system and ask them if they were happy being raped.
No.
Ask them if they were happy being burned with cigarettes. Ask them if they were happy with any of that. They're not fucking happy.
They're not happy. It's just the status quo, and they went along with it because that was how life was.
But I graduated in 1990, and the history that I learned didn't glorify. Again, we drink. It didn't glorify slavery, but it didn't give a true picture of what it was.
Yeah.
They did not talk about the way that people were separated. They did not talk about how they would rip children from the breasts of their parents so that this woman could be the wet nurse to somebody else's kid.
Yeah.
They didn't talk about any of that. Basically treating some of these women like dairy cows. So at a dairy farm.
Yeah.
They give birth to a calf and you take the calf away immediately so that they will continue to be producing milk. They didn't tell any of that. And then there's this group that's incredibly invested in fighting against anybody. And I heard somebody say, so in Pinellas County, Florida, 2 parents complained about them showing the Disney movie Ruby Bridges. It's been shown there for dozens of years since the movie came out and was available on tape. They've shown it to these elementary school children. And I want to say they're like the 3rd, 4th, 5th. It's age appropriate. I think it's like a G or a PG movie.
Right.
It's relatively age appropriate. Again, they've done it year after year after year. As a matter of fact, these parents probably are the people who saw it when they were in
right.
Oh my God, the aneurysm I'm going to have over it. Anyway, so these 2 parents complained. Two different families, parents complained, and so they're no longer going to show the movie. And somebody said it's because those parents feel that it would be too traumatic for their white children to see that. But it's okay for all of the black children to know that it happened and have your children denying it because you won't let them see it. But the other problem is that the reason somebody pointed out that you probably don't want them to see him is because they don't want, as a parent, you don't want them to know that their grandparents were the ones who were throwing rocks at a 6-year-old child.
Yeah.
But also, if a 6-year-old child could live through this, your 9-year-old child can see a Disney movie about it. Because that Disney movie is nowhere near as traumatic as what Ruby Bridges went through and any other child that went through desegregating a school.
Yeah.
Being one of 9 children in I forget which school it is, but being one of 9 children that were moved into a school district of 300, 400, 500 kids, that is so traumatic. And to say that like my kid can't see it because they might feel bad. I did learn about some of that shit. And I can tell you that I never once felt bad. I felt that I should do better.
Yeah.
That this is something to learn to not do.
Right.
But it's almost as if these people are absolutely fighting to make sure that their children don't know better so that they don't do better, so that they regress.
Yeah. Well, that's
We
the
want to
problem.
make like a little generation of fucking racist, more racist.
Right. Ignorant kids that don't know any better. And it's like, yeah, when you're born, you don't know about racism and things like that. And it's like, okay, yeah.
But your family teaches you real fast.
But your family teaches you real fast. And that's why there's that education in schools and things, because you don't know 500 kids at a school. Like, you don't know what their family is like. You don't know what they're experiencing at home. So the thing is when you go to school to experience all of the things so that you can learn and be educated about the world around you that's outside of your family dynamic. Because when you're in your family dynamic, like if that's all you learn your entire life, I'm sorry, your family may be super fucked up. And that might be wrong to say, but like you might have a really fucked up family. And if that's all your kid learns, then when they go out into the real world, when they're on their own, then they're going to be really fucked up.
This is a horrible analogy, but we've all read stories about it. Think of the number of stories that you've read about people who were exposed to I don't want to say ritualized, like they were constantly exposed to some type of abuse in their family.
Yeah.
Usually it's sexual abuse. Females that were sexually abused by their father, their stepfather in the home. They didn't know it was wrong.
No.
They felt it was wrong.
Right. But they didn't know it was wrong.
But they didn't know it was wrong until they were in school and they met other people whose dads didn't have sex with them.
Right.
And it's then. So now I feel like we're telling kids, well, you can't discuss any of this because we don't want you to find out that what you're learning at home might be wrong.
Right.
Might be right, but it
might be wrong.
It's probably wrong. If you've got something to hide, what you're doing at your house is probably wrong, and you know that it's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So I just don't. I just cannot. When I said everything comes from Tennessee, God, I know Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson. Tennessee, duly elected state representatives. They're state representatives. They're Democrats. They are the gentlemen, Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, two youngest first term representatives, young black men representatives, the youngest representatives, I believe, in either Tennessee history, at least in this session. They were elected
by their constituents.
They went instead. Gloria, Justin, and Justin went and stood at the protest that was had by mostly very young people against about the gun violence, about the mass shooting.
A lot of school kids that walked out of school that day because they had the school shooting.
Right. So the mass shooting. So they were out there about, wanting some type of gun reform. And we know in the United States, you'll never get rid of guns. But these kids are also know that at some point we did have a ban on certain weapons and shit like this wasn't going down.
Yeah.
And if you want to know more about that, look at assault rifle bans and AK-47 bans in the 1960s because of the Black Panthers. Once again, if you want to get a gun banned, fucking arm every black man you know, and every white guy that you know will race out there to fucking make sure they can't have access to it.
Nope.
But they went and they stood up with their constituents. They were representing their people, which is what a state representative is supposed to do, is to represent their people, not their own interests. And when I first saw the story, I heard that they were being removed from all of their committees. And then they showed up to work the day after the protest and they had deactivated all 3 of their cards. They had no access to the building anymore.
Which is bullshit.
And then they were told, we're not removing you from your committees. We are going to vote to expel you, to remove you from your seat so that your representation is no longer needed.
Which, honestly, the strongest thing they normally do in any kind of political atmosphere like that, in any Congress, state Congress, even U.S. Congress,
The State
is
House,
they
yeah.
censure you.
Right.
They censure you. That is the strongest action that usually the
like getting a
voting body
written
can
warning.
take. Yeah, they censure you. And they did not get censured. They said they were getting expelled, which means they basically get kicked out of Congress.
Yep.
The state Congress. They get kicked out of the state Congress.
So Justin Pearson was... Nope. Got it wrong. Go out and TikTok's the easiest way that I could tell you. Go out and just search Justin Pearson or Justin Jones and look at what the speeches were that they gave from the well. Justin Jones is the one who went through and listed, like, you say that we broke the House rules.
It was House decorum.
House decorum, yes. They
Which,
said that
I
they
mean,
violated House decorum.
Let's be honest. That name says it all. Like, you should be able to get some idea of what House decorum would be like. And you would think that these guys were doing something outrageous, but like
They
when you
weren't
listen to them,
disrespectful.
you listen to them speak, and let me tell you, there is no decorum they were are capable of breaking.
Yeah, I mean these. The worst thing that happened is that these three they spoke out, but they were not disrespectful. They were not. That's just
And they weren't even in the fucking
Right.
in the Congress, like in the Capitol, like chambers. They weren't in the chambers when they did this. They were out doing the protest with the other people that were out there doing the protests.
And this is as far as what we've read and seen on TV. So if
Yes.
you've read or seen something different, it really doesn't change what happened. They supported their constituents. That's
Yep.
what you are hired to do. That's what we send you to the state to do, is to represent us. So they managed to expel Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, the two youngest first-term Black Democratic representatives. The GOP-led state house could not expel Gloria Johnson. It failed by one vote.
Yeah.
And even Gloria Johnson said, "Can you tell me what's different about the three of us?"
Yeah.
And
And she was like, I think it's pretty obvious.
"Yeah, she's a white middle-aged woman, and she knows it." And we, like
even-
most of us, were
Not even
very-
middle aged. She is 60 years old. She's a white 60-year-old woman. And she was like, look at the difference between the three of us.
And she stood in solidarity with them, which is as you should do. In all honesty, I think our policy here is if you see something going wrong and your white can fucking diffuse it, throw your white ass in front of it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So, and by that I mean, if somebody's getting shitty, if you see a white person getting shitty at McDonald's, be the white person who tells them to get the fuck out of the way and
Yeah.
move on. So she's doing what I would expect her to do, which is
Yeah.
to stand up for them and tell people that it's wrong.
Yeah.
But they're going to be, they're being removed. They can run. So there will have to be a special election.
So
in
that's
their
the thing.
districts.
Being expelled means they literally get kicked out of the
Yeah.
organization, and their constituents will have to have another election to vote new people in, but they can run again.
Yeah. So they might just end up back there, and I hope they do. So fucking Tennessee is like challenging. I mean, what's the saying? Tennessee saw Florida and was like, hold my beer.
Yeah. It's just like the whole democratic process. It's like the constituents voted these people in. They're standing up for what their constituents want. And then the other people in the House were like, well, we don't like you or what you did, so we're kicking you out. And I will say, like Mindy said, if you go and listen, like go and look on TikTok to their things, because Jones, I forget his first name, but Jones, the last name,
Justin Jones.
Justin Jones. If you go,
They're
listen,
both Justins.
Yeah, they're both Justins. So if you go and listen to Justin Jones TikTok, it is there's a part in there where you're like, oh, and nobody denies it, and I'm pretty sure most of it is 100%
Oh, Justin
factual.
Jones, who said
yeah.
that there was a committee member who was convicted or admitted child molester.
Yeah.
Was not expelled.
Somebody who was convicted of domestic violence, who is
Not
still
expelled.
still sitting, and this is the thing,
Still serving.
They are still serving in the House right to this day. And there was somebody that one of the state reps went and peed in the chamber on somebody else's seat, still not expelled.
Yeah.
And they didn't, and it was in the chamber. When they did the protesting, it wasn't in the chamber.
Yeah. So I mean, in all honesty, I wouldn't care if they did it in the chamber, because do you know what they would have considered a protest in the chamber? Anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Because there are set decorum rules.
Yeah.
But my thing is that the decorum rules that they broke were outside the chamber.
And like John Lewis said, sometimes there is such a thing as good trouble. So I hope something really good comes from this.
Yeah.
But as a segue, when I said that Tennessee looked at Florida and said, hold my beer, they did not want them to be holding Bud Light.
Yeah. Because oh, Bud Light. Okay.
By the way, Brandy's wearing her rainbow glasses.
I am.
so-
I'm wearing my rainbow glasses just for today. So Bud Light is my choice of light beer when I drink beer, because honestly, it's like water, and when
It's
I
a
need
good
hydrated,
summer beer.
It's
I
a
mean-
good summer beer. I like when I need water and I want beer. I drink
Except
Bud
for when
Light.
we're at the AMVETS, then we're like, can I have Budweiser? Because I just need something with some kind of flavor. But at this point, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So Bud Light, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, so they put out a limited release beer that they sent to a few select human beings as a gift. And Anheuser-Busch owns Bud Light. So they did that. And I'm going to let you tell because you know the specifics about the person it got sent to.
So they made a special or commemorative box and can that was for the celebration of Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney is a trans activist. She did a series on TikTok called Days of Being a Girl. So from day one of her transition, she documented it. And she got ridiculed and so much other stuff, but it's the most delightful and genuinely innocent, joyful journey that you could see. So it was day one of being a girl. And when we say day one of being a girl, when she said it, it was, she decided to make a 100% commitment to living as a woman.
And she transitioned fully
Right.
and did the whole.
She's done recently facial feminization and some other things, but she was always beautiful anyway. She had the bone structure for it. So she did this. And then right before her 365 days, she had gone about 6 weeks before, she had done facial feminization, which if you're not sure what that is, it is women's faces are just different than men. Our teeth are shaped different. We have less prominent brows. We have less prominent jaws. We have less prominent chins. The nose is reshaped. Thyroid cartilage shaving. It for all intents and purposes, it takes hairline advancement. It's a huge process.
Oh, yeah.
Not everybody gets to do it. Not everybody wants to do it. Not everybody has to do it. Living your gender truth has nothing to do about your physical. This was her journey. And she documented it for people, and she was very open with what was going on. And she has been partnered with other things down the road. So Bud Light was like, hey, let's do this commemorative thing. You, as far as I know, cannot get the can or the package.
Nope.
It was just sent for Dylan Mulvaney.
It was a private, here you go. Here's a present for you. We celebrate you. Here you go.
And as far as I know, they are doing like a limited rainbow can or whatnot, which is fine because I think they do the same thing at Pride anyway.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a company who, this isn't new. They have supported LGBTQIA for years.
They donate money. They do all the things.
So first time I heard of it, to be honest with you, was a video of Kid fucking Rock, who knew he was alive and not Dr. Phil, shooting. The fucking tone deafness of it within weeks of the Nashville shooting has Bud Light lined up on a table and is shooting it, which I'm like, hey, you spent your money. Fuck off. I don't care. Go buy all the Bud Light you want and shoot it. That'll make your point. And then there became videos of people who were like throwing out their Bud Light and driving over it with their big trucks and their tiny dicks and all this other shit. And then going out and like getting boxes of Coors. And those of us that are kind of petty were posting online like, you dumb motherfucker. All of these companies
Donate
and support and whatnot. So the most ignorant fucking thing that I've seen in the past 3 weeks, let's just say that. The Travis Tritt has removed Anheuser-Busch products from his tour. Again, who the fuck knew Travis Tritt was still touring?
Dear God.
Trouble. Who knew? So fuck off, Travis Tritt. Nobody cares. I saw you drop a Harley on the stage at EJ Nutter Center, and on the first date of your 10-foot tall and bulletproof tour. You fuckwit. Even I know to put the kickstand down. So
Wait, like he accidentally dropped it?
like he drove it out onto stage. First of all, there's this giant TT. So we saw Joe Diffie open for him.
Yeah.
Then they switched the stage and there's this giant, like huge TT that he got from Tina Turner's set. Mm-hmm. Those things were actually owned by Tina Turner, and she used them in a concert tour, and he got it because Travis Tritt Tina Turner. He drives out on this fucking tricked out Harley, this black tricked out Harley.
And clearly doesn't know how to ride it.
Has both little feet down because you can't drive that fast.
Yeah.
And he's not the tallest dude. 10 foot tall and bulletproof is about, I don't know, 5 feet short. So he puts his little feet down and then he dismounts the bike without rocking it to one side and kicking the kickstand down.
Yeah.
He just leaned it to one side and dismounted, like how you swing your leg off the back, dismounted and just let it fall on the ground.
Oh, he's lucky he didn't get
$65,000-$70,000 Harley just punk. In front of 15,000 people.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So fuck him. He's not exactly, the brightest
sharpest spoon, whatever. So yeah, all these people are going out and they're like, what about this? And what about that? Travis Tritt tweeted a picture of, Jack Daniels was in a promotion with like, it had drag queens as part of their promotion, or they were part of a drag queen event. He was like, take note. Somebody came out with a picture of Kid Rock from 2003, where he is sitting with one of the like originally hugely widely known, Wanda drag queens, drinking a Bud Light.
Nice.
Sitting with Wanda performing. So the fucking hypocrisy and the stupidity. So also Dylan Mulvaney has partnered with Nike, or Nike has partnered with her. And people are like burning their Nike shit again, just like they did with Colin Kaepernick. Again, so first of all, they burned their shit.
Yeah.
Because of Colin Kaepernick and his partnership with Nike. And then they let that die down and they went out and bought all new Nike shit that they're setting on fire again.
Yeah.
Nike got your money.
Yeah.
You just look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
So they're doing that. But when I had a point that I was arriving at.
I'm like, the Bud Light thing. Okay. Forget that it's Bud Light. Forget that it's a giant company. Forget that it's anything. Like a company sent a gift to a human being. If you are a human being that then has a visceral reaction to somebody else sending a gift to somebody else, like, I almost feel sorry for you, because what kind of sad sack life do you have that you get pissed off when other people get a gift?
Yeah.
Like what kind of human being are you that you want to go shoot things because somebody else got a gift that made them feel good? Like, somebody got a gift that made them feel good, and your reaction was, I'm going to go shoot shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not the human being that I want to be around, and you're not the human being that makes our country, our world, our lives any better.
Right.
Like, do better. Like, be a better human being. Like, if you're the person that feels that way, reevaluate. Take a look inside. What the fuck is making you angry, and what the fuck is it? Because it's not that gift that is making you angry. There is something else in your world that is fucking you up, because you need to get a better handle on your life and go see a fucking therapist. Because if somebody else getting a gift makes you angry, like...
And as far as the men that are acting violently about this, fucking learn how to regulate your emotions. Nobody said that. Yeah. Here's the thing. When it comes to that shit, women can't be angry, men can't cry. Figure it out, because the reason you can't cry is because people told you all your life not to cry, and now you just can't regulate your fucking emotions at all.
I'm sorry, if you're a man, cry your ass off. I don't give a shit.
I'd rather that than you be fucking moron.
I'd rather that than you shoot me.
But I know what I was going to tell you. So I saw this video, it was stitched by somebody else, but like I was having my own thoughts while it was happening. They're showing this video of this fucktard that I said tart, like Pop-Tart. I did not use the D word. It's where, you just pop up anyway, and you're a fucker. So so he was talking about the fact that basically all of you woke ass motherfuckers think that you've done something because Bud Light put Dylan Mulvaney on a can and they're putting rainbows on it. And what you fail to understand is that this is a capitalist nation and they just want to sell products to the most people that they can. So you're saying that putting rainbows and Dylan Mulvaney as part of it will sell more beer, which means that there are more of us than there are of you, you fucking idiot. With the straight face and the full chest, they're trying to sell more beer. So this is a marketing tactic. You know what wouldn't sell more beer? If they put like an AR-15 on the front of it in your face.
Yeah, no, they would not.
No, that'd sell less beer.
Yeah.
Do you know what sells more beer? Being more inclusive and including other people. And I don't care if they don't mean it or not. It gives I do care. But in all honesty, what they're saying is we know what the biggest market is. The biggest market is pro-LGBTQIA. And if we lose 10 of you, we gain 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't want to drink Bud Light, but I'd buy some.
Yeah.
But if I can find some rainbow cans, I'll buy them. I don't think you're going to see them here.
Yeah. Probably not.
Ohio is not really that far behind.
Yeah, we're not the market for that.
We're Tennessee Light.
That's true.
So, oh my God. We were not drinking Bud Light tonight. Maybe the next time we'll drink Bud Light. We are going to have some things that are coming up in the future. We had a couple of surprise invitations from somebody that I follow on TikTok from the area that I was very flattered about. So we will figure out how to do that, and we'll give you guys more information on that later. But until then, Brandy, where do you find us?
You can find us on Instagram or Twitter at DBBL_podcast, or Facebook and YouTube at DBBL podcast, or our website, dbblpodcast.com, or you can email us at dbblpodcast@gmail.com. Please, if you're going to use any of those and you do Twitter first, because Mindy's way more active on Twitter than anything else, and I'll be honest, I don't do the things. So
I know I always have to ask, like, did you see what I tweeted? And she's like, I'm okay with whatever you tweeted. And I'm like, I always try and put my name on it, but then again, I don't. Like,
no, it's fine.
Just
9 times out of 10, anything you see comes from Mindy. Every once in a while, I'll like chime in with something, but I feel like I usually like put my name after it or just sign it with a B.
I have Brandy's cosign on everything that I put out there.
She's good. I trust you.
I don't know how radical Brandy wants to be, but I represent us.
I'm good with it. I don't care. It's you do you boo.
Oh my God. We are headed into spring here in Ohio. It's going to be glorious. Brandy's not going to be able to breathe for the next 7 months.
Yeah,
That's
it's
fantastic.
going to be fantastic. I love it.
Pollen's knocking on the door. Some of the things I just wanted to ask you if there's anything that you've been enjoying, because I have a person that I have been enjoying online. But while I pull this up,
I just work 24/7, so I'm doing all the work and things, and
like no new alcohol, no new movies, no new TV shows.
TV shows. What did I just watch? I just binge watched something the other. When I was sick, because I was sick, I got to catch up on all my TVs. I will say, so I'm a huge fan of this. Netflix came out with the 2nd season of Shadow and Bone. So if you're a fantasy fan and you like magic and all that kind of stuff, I liked it. I enjoyed it. So I was a big fan. Although I met somebody that was in the middle of watching it and they were not loving it as much as I was. But
I made it 3 episodes in and was like, I can't. It was too much.
Yeah, I binge watched the 2nd season when I was sick. It literally, like, I got sick on like Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Like Thursday, I think halfway through the day, I went home sick from work, and then I was home for the rest of the weekend, and that was my 2nd sickness of March. My 2nd sickness of March, and so I got to binge watch. I stayed home all day Saturday and Sunday, and I binge watched the whole 2nd season of it, and I absolutely loved it. So that was my newest thing that I watched that I loved.
Yeah, I'm still on British TV. I mean, if you guys want recommendations on British crime dramas or dramedies, let me know, because I can do that for you. I take that back. I have been catching up on Mindy Kaling's Never Have I Ever on Netflix. It's really good.
Nice.
It's kind of like, did you ever watch MTV's Awkward?
No.
With a girl who was like, you're welcome.
I feel like I would probably avoid anything that says awkward in it, just because I can't watch The Office because it's so awkward.
Oh, this is fantastic. So Awkward was kind of like a like 2010, 2012, something like that. It's about a girl who injured herself, but everybody assumed that she was trying to commit suicide. So then she just became Suicide Girl. And then it follows her from her freshman year to her senior year. And it's really cute. It's kind of like Live Daria.
Okay.
So it was kind of really cute, but this is Never Have I Ever, and it follows a young Indian woman and like how her family is, and it talks about, like, because Mindy Kaling being a young Indian woman, it talks about like their structure. It's really interesting culturally to see how this, like, she kept calling everybody auntie, and I was like, these cannot all be your family member, and it's a cultural thing. You call women older than you auntie.
No.
So I just think, but completely cute. But I am always on TikTok. And one of the TikToks that I don't know that I shared with you was right after the Nashville shooting. The guy's name is BMO the Prince, BMO the Prince, Brian Moeller, Moller. He does little skits where he's like playing different generations. So Gen X, Gen Z, millennials.
Yeah.
Alphas, and it's fantastic because like they represent Gen X, and he does boomers sometimes, and there's like God and Jesus and a couple of other things. So it's very tasteful. But he'll, like, Gen X and millennials are always pouring alcohol, and like Gen Zs are like, ew, drunk much? And we're like, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. But he did one that was so sweet right after the Nashville thing where he's been playing, he's had different the years represented. So 2020 was a shit show, and like God's always yelling at 2020, like, what the fuck are you doing? 2021 just started taking people out, taking celebrities out left and right. He was a little upset about that. And then it works its way to 2023 and the Nashville shooting happens. And the video, like the thing of it is he was like, whose fault is this? In 2023 is like, I don't think you can blame us anymore. And he's like, well, who do we blame? And it cuts to like somebody like it says U.S. government. And it's like, you're tracking pupils and talking about the TikTok thing, which we should have talked about. We'll talk about that later. It's fucking horrible representation of the U.S. Like them doing the TikTok congressional hearings. And the guy looks up and goes, thoughts and prayers. And I forget what a couple of other things is. And the God character was like, Jesus. And the Jesus character pops out and was like, I'm not going down there. But also, what are we going to do with all of these kids? Oh. And I was like, yeah, cried the whole thing. But a lot of the stuff is he does some serious stuff, but the most of it is just skits about like how the generations are different. The point being that Gen X and millennials, mainly elder millennials, can drink you under the table and still laugh about it while we get up and go to work the next morning.
Yes, that's 100% accurate because I'm an older millennial and you're a Gen Xer.
Yeah. So he adds joy to my life. So
I will say there was one other thing that I just popped into my brain that I watched that it was a very random thing. So my mom got foot surgery and I went to go babysit for the weekend to try and help her, which there's no helping my mom because she wants to do everything herself anyway. So I sat there and built
so many ways of helping your mom.
I sat there and built Legos while she struggled with things and was like, don't help me. So, but we watched a movie that I woke up Sunday morning in a toddler's bed and on my Facebook feed, the movie popped up and I was like, you know what? I think mom would like this. And then when I pulled it up on Netflix, I found out it actually debuted in like 2014. But if you're on Netflix, go and watch a movie. I think it's called This Is Where I Leave You. Jason Bateman, Tina Fey. And if you have
Jason Bateman, I'm in.
Yeah. If you have a family that's as fucked up as like divorces and things and what, like you'll love this because it's all like the premise is, without ruining anything, the dad dies and it's basically the mom getting her 4 children, adult grown children, back into the house for a week, and they're Jewish and they have to sit something.
It sounds like it's Jennifer Aniston in that.
No, but is it Adam Driver? He played.
Oh yeah, Adam Driver, the Star Wars guy.
Yeah. He's the youngest kid of the 4 kids, and Jason Bateman and Tina Fey are 2 of the other children. And then the older guy, I can't remember his name, but he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. He was the bad guy. But it is a delightful, just like fabulous movie. And I loved watching it with my mom too, because she's horrible at watching movies. Every time anything would happen, she'd look at me and go, what happens that? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't seen this. And she was like, I'm so used to you seeing these things already. I can ask you questions the whole time. And I'm like, yes, this is why I don't like watching movies with you. But it was also very relative because
like, I also have only made it this far into the movie.
Right. I'm like, okay. And like the movie basically was speaking to me as that was happening because I'm like, this is my mother. And it's Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda. It is the kids are played by Jason Bateman, Tina Fey, Jane Fonda is the mom, Adam Driver, and a guy named Corey Stoll, which is Paul Altman.
Yeah, he is the oldest kid, and he's the
Timothy Olyphant's in it. Connie Britton.
Yes, Timothy Olyphant.
Dax Shepard.
Yeah, it's a whole, but it's back in 2014 when they were all younger, and like I was like, I don't know why this came up on my Facebook feed this morning, but it was a fantastic like thing, and then we watched it, and it was just we watched on a Sunday morning and it was fabulous. And
Catherine Hahn and Rose Berner. You have to watch it.
Yeah,
Jesus, Catherine Hahn's fantastic.
Yeah, it's Connie Britton it was a fantastic, just fun family like rom-com kind of a thing, dramedy thing, and it's just lovely. It is a delightful movie, and I feel like it needs to really have a longer life. So go watch it.
Nice. I think I will have to do that.
Yeah.
I definitely will. So it has been nice catching up with you, and hopefully we'll do this again in a couple of weeks, not like a month and a half from now.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right. I will talk to you the next time. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
Cheers. Check. Oh, I see wave levels there. Kodak, little star.
All right, I think we're in business. Everybody's got to get involved.
Hello.
Apparently there was a malfunction. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Maybe if I just unplug this.
No, that it was my OneDrive. I don't know what's happening.
Mute.
But if I mute audio?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, you're muting I don't know. Turn off notifications.
Let's see what happens. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
I still got wavelengths. All
Yay.
right.
Okay.
Edit.
All the edits.